Good morning, everybody. Welcome to February 2023 to our virtual summit for the Simple Easy Marketing. I'm Tim Gillette, your host, and today I'm excited to bring to you several, and I do mean several, great speakers with some great topics to share with you on how to build your marketing simply so it makes it easy for your customers to find you, get to know you, and buy from you faster. You know, as we go into February every month, so many people who talk to me, my inner circle, my mastermind members, the people who are in this community, they all come to me with this idea when it comes to February. Well, like I didn't get everything I've done, like my what is it? My resolution list didn't get started the way I want. So this year's almost always in the trash already. Every year we try to start this thing off in January with, new resolutions, new goals, all that stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I've always thought the resolution thing was a load of crap. I really do. I really have always thought, even as a child, I thought that's a load of crap. Right? However, I did like the idea of having a point of starting new. It always appeals to me. And there are certain things that when I start, they bring me to life. Now, as I got into adulthood, all right, I started to get caught up in this idea, like, we have to do our goals every year, write goals out for the next year. And I used to have a ritual. I had this great ritual down where every year between Christmas and New Year's, I would write down my goals. I would type them up. I would put them in a Word document and I would have them out. And I know several, even some of our speakers I've seen theirs put on theirs over the years. I had this down to a ritual I did. And I remember I wrote one goal down for 8 years straight, the same goal. And every year I failed at making it happen. And does that mean goals don't work? Does that mean Tim, you're a failure? No, it just means I failed at it. All right. It didn't happen on the first try. Year number 9, I finally succeeded and made that happen. It only took 9 years to make it happen. This month, as we do our virtual summit, all right, my message today is what I'm going to share is, is taking and challenging yourself to go to new levels. Each one of our speakers has a different subject, a different idea to help you move forward, all right, even though it is February, probably the most drab month of the year because it's short and it's cold outside. And it seems in Dallas, that's when all the ice storms come, is every January or every February. All right. When I was in the Northeast, I came in January. Here in Dallas, they come in February every year. All right. But that drabness, all right, what we have to do to keep moving forward, what we have to do to close more sales. Because now is the point where we realize, all right, if we're going to make these goals happen, we have one less month. We got to close more sales. How to properly network and connect with the right people. That I've learned, right, is becoming so important in my life. The older I get, the more I realize sometimes the people I connect with are not going to get my ultimate goal, so I don't stay in that connection any longer. One of them is, for instance, I'm involved with several communities around the country, and one of them, the leader of the community, not my best friend. All right, the guy's a leader. I'm going to say that he's a leader, and he's very successful at what he does. But I don't want to go hang out with him and his family on a Friday night. I'll take his business advice, but I don't want to hang out with him on a Friday night. Don't want to go over to his house for dinner. It's okay, right? But that learned with age, I learned that's part of my network, right? There are certain things I want to do with this person, but there are certain things I don't. I'm not inviting him to my house for dinner. But I'm going to go to a business networking thing from him because he speaks words of wisdom, and I want to hear the words of wisdom. Then there are people that, they have a great business plan and I want to hang around with them, all right, because they're great people. In some cases, I have friends that are very well known. They're famous, if you want to say. But I don't like them because they're famous. I like them because I see them in their private life. So having that network right is a huge thing. Leisa Reid's coming back this year with another message about speaking, all right? As I personally am winding my speaking career, going to other events down. I'm bringing in people who teach you how to build it up. All right. I built my speaking career. All right. As well as every one of our speakers on today's panels today have built their speaking careers. Speaking is what built their network, almost all of them. And then, like, you know what I mean? We have a topic closing out the day today, overcoming fear and prospecting. How many times have you not been, or how many times have you been afraid, all right, to just reach out to that one time to shake a hand and prospect, right? Because there's a certain fear into it, a fear of rejection, a fear of things coming out. And our speakers today are going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about setting up a simple, easy challenge and talk about the idea of setting up challenges with content. All right, no matter what. We actually put out in 2023, we decided to make our February every year our content challenge month. All right, put that out with my mastermind and talk about it's the shortest month of the year. All right, if you had to do a piece of content every day and say, I'm going to do it every day for a month, this is the shortest month. Try to do the short things. But I'm also going to talk about how I got started doing content on a regular basis by accepting someone else's challenge. And I think their challenge at the time was like a 14-day challenge. And sometimes those challenges will get you to go out and do things to be consistent, and how that consistency will help you reach goals, and how reaching goals will help you be successful, and how it will make your 2023 successful. That's the plan we have out here for today. All right. You know what I mean? Lots of good things happening in our world. A couple things that I want to make you guys aware of if you've not already. This is a community event. All right. This is not something that I try to sell hard every month. No, I sell hard on being part of a community. You are part of the community by being here. All right. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching this in a replay. All right. You're part of a community. We have put together, I think right now I've got, last time I counted was 86 different speakers. All right. On 130 different subjects that we've got in this database for helping you simply get your market going and make it easy for people to find you and get to know you faster. In order to build this community, all right, there's three things that we try to do. Number one, all right, we ask you to tell your friends. Now, asking you to tell your friends about this community is a cool thing because we do offer a virtual, what we call an affiliate program. So if you go to timgillette.com/affiliates, that's affiliates with an S on the end. All right. It'll take you to my affiliate program. You can sign up there and you can actually tell people about this and get 50% of what it costs to join the membership. Right. Imagine that, inviting your friends over and getting paid to do it. I like that concept. The second way we do is we do these events here as virtual events. But when you buy into the virtual event, you get a ticket to, you get one free ticket to one of our live workshops. In 2023, we're going to have 3 of them. They're 3 one-day content creating workshops where basically you come in to a live function and we will have you leaving with content written, because we will have you write the content, create the outline, create the stories to go behind it. And then we will have you get up on the stage and share it. And we're going to video it for you. So that is the new thing that we're doing in 2023, that we will actually make, you know what I mean, make you successful by getting you to do the things you need to do. The other ways that we actually grow our community is we have an inner circle. All right. I'm going to be honest with you, right 100% upfront. And I tell everybody my sales process. So, you know, I provide these events so that I can build a membership of people who need it. Right. By doing that, yes, I charge a fee to be in here. I do all kinds of free reports on the internet, which actually gives you, a sales pitch to join this community. Once you're in this community, I offer what's called, I have 2 different ways. Number one is a Gold Inner Circle membership. Gold Inner Circle membership, you can go there anytime, timgillette.com/gold and check it out. All right. It is $97 a month. And it is it is a monthly fee to be in there. And you get part of our Gold Inner Circle membership. You get to be part of the monthly newsletter that goes out. You get to know what's coming up in this event and get the extra notes that go with it every month. You get to join a monthly or weekly group call talking about how to build your business and sometimes life, right? Because I'm also about life growth. All right. And then we have a platinum inner circle, which is a 1-year commitment. All right. We open that in May and we open that in November of every year. All right. To join, and you get to join in one of those 2 years. The next level is we actually have one-on-one. I have a one-on-one mentorship, which I only work with 5 people every year in that mentorship. I do not work with a lot of people in there. All right. Because it's really intense and it is really much. That is all that you will ever get sold from me. All right. Other than we, have things that come along for free and free classes here. And we run a master class every month for you guys. And the speakers in that make an offer for you to go check out that. But in the meantime, everything that will be presented today, the only thing that you will be offered here to join today is our gold inner circle. All of our speakers will make a free offer. They're going to share with you some of their best information, the top quality of information that they know. In some cases, years, and I do mean years. They're not old, but they're old in years. All right. With knowledge and wisdom they have for free. All right. And they'll offer you an opportunity to come join them. All right. Maybe in a free download of their materials or a free report they have, maybe even giving you a copy of their slides from today in the presentation for free. All right. It is all offered to you for free as a way to get to know that speaker better. Take that relationship to another level. All right. And see if that's the next way you want to go to get help. Other than that, I do my speech. I make an offer. All right. And if you're in the membership, these things are broken up every week after we're done, and they're put into the membership. We'll have each individual speaker. Our Scott Schilling will be an individual video for you to watch. Tricia Benn will be an individual video to watch. Leisa Reid, an individual video. Eric Lofholm, an individual video. All of them will be broken up inside the membership area. You can go over and check that out. I think I made the pretty link up. timgillette.com/members will get you there to sign in. If you don't have your membership credentials, by all means, email me and let me know. info@timgillette.com. Either I or my assistant Dave will get you actually in there and make sure you get access to all of them, because there's hundreds of speeches from speakers like the great ones that are coming here today. So today, great speakers that we have lined up. All right. Scott Schilling's going to be up first. All right. He's got 12 ways to close more sales. Then we're going to have Tricia Benn. Then I will give you my keynote of the day. Then we'll have Leisa Reid coming in this afternoon, as well as Eric closing us up. And then I will come back and close out the day. All right. With some small notes, maybe even bring you in a surprise or two. So how many of you are ready to get this thing going? I don't like to actually, shall I say, dilly-dally it along. I like to move and share with you the information as it comes out. Our first speaker is actually in the green room, and he's ready to go. Then again, I've always known this man ready to go. All right. Even lately, and I'm sure maybe he'll share that how lately he's even more ready to go and he has more energy. And I'm sure he'll share why. I'm not going to share your story, Scott. I'm going to make you share it to him. All right. But Scott and I sat in a Starbucks and he told me why all of a sudden he has more energy in life recently. And I'm sure he's going to bring it up. Let's bring him into the room today. Mr. Scott Schilling. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Tim. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Always a blast.
Yeah. Do you have slides today, Scott, or are you just sharing off the cuff?
No, I'm sharing off the cuff, and I'm actually going to do a little audible. So, but I'm gonna cover it all. You gave me some great material to start out with there.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do, Scott, is I'm going to let you share with my audience, and I'm going to be down there in the green room. If you need me, just go ahead and holler. I'll be there when you're done.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Welcome, everybody. So excited to be here with you. It's just always an honor to be able to present and share at these virtual summits. And Tim and I have been longtime friends. As he said, not too long ago, we shared a little time in a Starbucks, and I was relating to him. He said, "How you feeling going into the new year?" I said, "Dude, I am bionic. I am ready to roll." And he said, "Hey, Robert, how you doing?" He said, "What's that all about?" And I said, "Well, pretty simple. Last 6 months, I've had 2 hips replaced. I am now officially bionic and ready to roll." So amazing technology these days. But what you find out when you have something like this go on, number one, I would let it go on way too long. My body wore out. I was very blessed to be a 5-sport athlete growing up all my career, and played a lot of sports afterwards. But what you find out is sometimes you don't realize how much pain you're in until you're not in pain anymore. And then all of a sudden, everything opens up to you. And as soon as that starts to happen, it's amazing how you see a rebirth and a greater opportunity to serve more people. Now, Tim said that I was here in Dallas. He was wrong. I'm actually on my vacation home on the International Space Station. You can see it out my window here. No, just kidding. Just having a little fun. The beauty of being a connector and what I've had the opportunity to do in over 3,000 live events in my career is share the stage with virtually every name you know. Now, you may or may not know my name, and that's okay. That wasn't my task at the time. My task was to deliver a message in behalf of somebody and share opportunities with people. But one of the things that happens when you share the stage 3,000 times with some of the best is you get to sit back in the green room with them. And that's when you do what the good Lord had you do. You got one mouth, two ears. You shut up and listen. You ask questions and you hear what you can hear from some of the greats. And so that's why, as the authentic connector, my moniker is really to accelerate results through people, products, and projects. Now, you're going to hear from some great people today. Tricia Benn, oh my God, is she awesome. Leisa, Eric, these are amazing people. You're going to hear some great things. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about both a product and a project that can serve you, because really it's about monetizing what you're doing and have something to really help you with that. But before I even start that, I want to share a little insight from one of my community calls that happened last night. I have my own online community, much like Tim's. And we were talking about how do we get into 2023 and just really nail it. And obviously, closing more sales is a big part of that. So we'll get there. But one of my members said, you know what I've noticed? We're in a pandemic of fear. The other pandemic is past us. We've made it through. But now so many people are in a pandemic of fear. And it was like, wow, what an interesting take. And we started talking about it. And I said, where do you find this piece of information? He said, well, now I've got all these clients who are going out networking again. And Tricia will do a great job of talking about networking here in just a few minutes. But now they're actually face to face again. And it's been a while and they don't know how to handle it. And all of a sudden they're in a situation where they have this fear of rejection going on. And it was just such an amazing take to get this piece of information from part of my community, and said, so what are you suggesting to them? Is basically take in the opportunity to go meet with people, to go network with people, to be out face to face, to take the new times, to use video to its fullest. Video's never going to go away. It's never going to be the same way. We used to do stadium events, 27,000 people in the audience. I mean, it was a blast. Don't get me wrong. Those probably aren't coming back that way. Now, it'd be great if they did, but this is the way so many events are being done these days and are going to continue to be done. So it's a combination of both live, face-to-face networking and this. But when we were talking about the fear of rejection, I said simply, nobody can reject you. It's not possible for anybody to reject you. The only one that can reject you is you. See, Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can reject you without your consent. In other words, if somebody says something to you, it's their opinion, it's whatever it is, or it's whatever that situation dictates. See, the reality, if somebody said, Scott, you have green hair, would it bother me? No. Why? Number one, I'm just glad to have hair. But number two, the fact is, I know I don't have green hair. And so therefore, I don't have to accept that opinion. It's not what anybody says to you that counts. It's what you say to you after they stop talking. And so I encourage you as we come into this year and we want to close more sales and we want to grow our businesses and do all those different things, I ask you, feel the fear and do it anyway. Lean into it. So we're going to talk about some things and what does it mean to close more sales? Well, quite frankly, I want to reframe it in your mind. I'd really prefer that you saw every closing of a sale to be an opening of a relationship, because it's that relationship over time that will give you so much benefit and pay so many dividends along the way. So what do you need to do to accomplish that? Well, number one, you want to turn your paying customer or turn your attendees into paying customers. Now, if you're doing a virtual event like this, or even if you're face to face, that's your attendee. It's who you're working with at that time. But you want to make sure that you convert them. You want to convert them, whether it be through a piece of information, whether it be through an offer you make to make their life easier, whether it be just some connection that you have. Again, that's why my moniker is the authentic connector. What I work to do is understand the challenges that people have in their business. And I ask really complex questions like, what problem are you looking to solve? Now, if they share the answer to that, I may have a track to run on for what I'm representing. But if they share the answer to that and I don't represent the solution, I probably know somebody that does. And that's when I can still provide value to that situation by now simply introducing them. And I do a cross introduction that gives a little bit of brief information about person one and a little bit of brief information about person two. And then I suggest that they connect with each other based on the information that I've shared with them. And I say, I look forward to seeing the smoke rise when you two get together, because I know it'll be a good, solid relationship. The next thing we want to do is we want to manage our time better. We want to get better at being able to do a variety of things. Have you noticed nobody's stretched the days at all? They're still just 24 hours. But it seems like there's more things we're working to do to pack into those. And then we want to expand our reach. We want to talk to more people. Well, we can do that through video. I was talking with a group in South Africa this morning. I've already done one podcast for the day, and it was in South Africa. Now, how did I meet those guys? By using video conference technology. And now all of a sudden, I had the opportunity to present and offer solutions to people in South Africa and, quite frankly, around the world because of their reach. And I was still sitting here in beautiful Dallas, Texas. So we want to expand our reach, and then we want to promote our brand. As you can see, I'm the authentic connector. Somebody asked me one time, Scott, are you an influencer? And I said, no, I think I have influence, but I don't believe I'm an influencer. And they said, why not? I said, because to me, influencers tend to be about themselves. Now, an authentic connector, on the other hand, is concerned about the result for both parties connected. See, I'm honored to be a connector. I want to put people together to help you. And that's why I want to share this information on how you can close more sales, or more appropriately, quite frankly, open more relationships. The first one is understanding that presentation hasn't changed, even though our environments have, even though we may or may not be face-to-face anymore. We may be doing this via video conference. Well, let's go through the foundations of presentation. You first have to develop trust with the audience. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, they don't like you. And if they don't like you, they don't trust you. But to do business with you, they have to trust you. So you have to earn that trust. That's hard to earn, easily lost. You got to be very careful. The second thing is you have to offer up a story or something that they can identify with that puts them into the use. I call it the after state of acquiring your solution. Well, then you've got to, in fact, provide them a potential solution to their challenges. Now, who knows what their challenges are? They do. You better get very good at asking questions. Now, do the questions have to be complex? Not in the least. I've already given you one. What problem are you looking to solve? It's a very simple question. Another way of saying that is, if you could improve one thing in your business, what would it be? So again, you now have a track to run on. You have a potential problem to solve for them. Well, so the first three have all stayed the same. And then the fourth one is you have to make a call to action. Now that you've engaged them in your story, you've developed that trust along the way, you've shared a potential solution to their situation, you have to make a call to action. Well, what's a call to action? Well, hey, how's that sound to you? It's called a closing question. It's allowing them to take advantage of what your offer may or may not be. Now, again, back in the day, when we'd have 27,000 in arena, we'd say, and if you're ready to take action, head on back to the tables and they'll process your orders there. In fact, for the first 34, you'll get an extra blah, 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 whatever it might be. Well, unfortunately, in the video environment, what has happened is the call to action has been relegated to being a link in the chat. And somebody's saying, well, if you like what you've heard, go ahead and get the link in the chat. And then about 62 people start commenting, is this the right link? I'm not sure this is the link. Oh my God, is this the link? Boy, this has been a long meeting. Is this the right link? Hey, I've got to run out. I hope this link is still here when I get back. And what happens? Conversions go down. You have worked so hard to deliver such an amazing presentation. You've earned their trust. You've shared that story. You've presented a solution to their challenge or their problem. And yet it doesn't convert because of the technology that you're utilizing. Well, basically one of the products that I use, and I suggest others use, is got a call to action button right on the screen itself. That's right. When I say, hey, for any of you that haven't gotten a copy of my book, just go ahead and hit the green button that says, get your copy today. And when they press it on the screen, it takes you right to the checkout page. That's converting. One of the members that's using this technology has related that, in fact, in the first 3 weeks, their conversions are up 27%. And again, isn't that what it's really all about? Is taking your hard-earned time and effort and monetizing it and serving the other person on the other side. See, monetization is just the exchange of value. You've given them something that helps them. They've given you something that helps you, called certificates of appreciation. Some people call them dollar bills. So the fact is, you now have that opportunity to get that on your side. So that's one of the cool widgets that will help you open more relationships for a longer term customer relationship. What if you could put your web page up, a registration page to join your online community or to come to your next event? Well, that's another conversion tool that's available today. You may or may not know it. But by a show of hands, how many of you don't know what you don't know? Is it fair to say somebody knows what you don't know? Is it even possible I might know what you don't know. And so I encourage you, suspend disbelief. Scott, we've never heard of this. Well, that's one of the reasons Tim was gracious enough to allow me to share, because he wants to make sure that you monetize what you're doing and you have the opportunity to, in fact, grow your business. Because when you grow your business, your life experience expands. And isn't that what it's all about? Now, what if you could put a button in your header bar that allowed you to do that? Or let's say that I was talking about my free gift today. If I had a button that simply said, get your free copy of Talking with Giants, a 164-page book. All you have to do is go to twgfreegift.com and get that book. Now, I've just given you the link to get a free gift here today. But what if I could put a button right on the top of the toolbar that would allow you to do the exact same thing? See, it's about converting. That's closing a sale. Why is that closing a sale? Because as we offer free premiums to you, the listeners, you will exchange that ethical bribe. That's what it's called, an ethical bribe, for your name and your email address, so that we can develop a relationship over time. And once that relationship over time is built, we can earn your trust. So when the time is right to be able to offer something to you that is of value to you, you may just respond to that call to action and make that purchase. That's what it becomes about. Now, there are other tools that are available through this video platform, including custom links and button bars. What if you could put somewhere between 1 to 5 buttons that are actionable at the time? As an example, there are 5 speakers in this virtual summit today. What if you had the ability to, at the end of this, recap and put each of our names up, and all you had to do is touch that button to get the free gift that we offered? Again, guess what happens? Conversions go up. That means more of you take advantage of it. And as more of you take advantage of it, more value can be exchanged. Remember, it's always about exchange of value. Now, that means whether you're offering something free or at a discounted price or even at a full price, as long as the value you receive exceeds the value that you exchange for it. Tim's Golden Inner Circle and his Platinum Mastermind and the things he does. In fact, we talked about this when we were having coffee a couple weeks ago. You know, he only coaches or mentors 5 people at a time, because the value that Tim delivers is so significantly more than what the mentee shares to have that opportunity. See, it's always about an exchange of value. You know, the next thing is, I don't know about you, but again, there's no day stretcher and things are getting busier and busier and busier. So what if you had tools that could allow you to open more relationships faster? Well, how would you do that? Well, what if you had something like one-click video that at the touch of a button could add a video that could be a promotional video, or it could be a testimonial video. It could be something saying how wonderful you are from one of your clients, or somebody saying how wonderful the products you represent are. But you could simply touch a button and now somebody could see that so easily that it would allow them to take action. Or what if you could one-touch audio to go along with it? So now all of a sudden you've got, you know, We Are the Champions playing as you enter your team meeting. Or what if you could one touch your PowerPoint so that it went smoothly and professionally. See, I'm going to suggest the reason that you all are here today and listening is because you are professionals. Because it's the professionals that invest in themselves to learn more. They suspend disbelief for a period of time and they come on board to learn so many more things, which is what you're doing. I congratulate you. I honor you for being here. What if all of these different buttons that I'm talking about were all still live when you send out the recording? My speaking mentor, he said, one of the reasons that you speak and you present products is because you speak one time and it gets purchased many times. It's the beauty of recordings. Well, what if your buy now button, your call to actions, your ability to send PDFs, your PowerPoints, all were still actionable while you were sleeping? It's available. You can do that. The question is, do you know that? Well, you do now. And again, would love to talk to you about it sometime. How about things like, I don't know, a teleprompter that would allow you to now do the presentation of the best that you could actually present and increase your professionalism. See, that's what things become about, is what level of authority do people feel you represent? People buy from those they perceive to be the authority. Most people have to earn that. Well, some of it you can actually borrow. Did you know that? See, and so you can borrow until you've got it down yourself. Your life experience, there's no greater you on this planet. You are the best you possible because you are the only one who has ever experienced what you've experienced. And so you can help people in a unique way that nobody else can do but you. You've got that opportunity. How else could you expand your brand? Well, virtual backgrounds. You see the branding on my picture that's behind me. Well, what if you also had virtual wallpaper? So now you could have your logos or logos of products you represented or different things. See, there's the subliminal professionalism that becomes available when you can tie to and be proud of your organization or your offer. If you're a single entrepreneur, I congratulate you. God bless you. I mean, it's entrepreneurialism that drives this country and this economy. Well, how about expanding your reach by streaming to multiple locations? What if you could stream to 5 locations simultaneous? I regularly do lives to 3 Facebook pages, YouTube, and LinkedIn all at the exact same time. And it's interesting because the audiences are significantly different. And what if you could multiply that at some point to up to 30 locations at one time? Some of you saying, wait a second, I don't have that many social places to go. Yet, you keep on coming to these virtual summits and learning from the speakers that come and that Tim handpicks to be here, and you'll learn how to accomplish all these things. That's why you come to events like this, is to learn from those who have been there and done that. And again, Tim assimilates an amazing group every month. I'm honored to be here, honored to have the opportunity. How about sharing compliant collateral? In other words, being able to produce all your call to actions, button bars, media, PowerPoints in one account and downstream them to your team at the click of a button. So now they're compliant. That person that was a headache that always broke the rules, Well, at least you give them the lines this time, right? They can color inside the lines, and then just making things simple. You know, if you could do events simply, if you could expand your reach, if you could get your message out to more people. See, if you're not doing enough business today, it's not about what you're doing or not doing today. It's what you didn't do 30, 60, 90 days ago. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60, 90 days from now. See, again, I congratulate you for being here. Tim has assembled an amazing lineup of people across a broad session of presentation skills and places and means to network. Again, Tricia Benn and what she'll share with you about the C-suite network and the people who are involved will be phenomenal. I encourage you, get out a pad of paper and a pen or a pencil and take notes. She's an expert. She's one of the best of the best. Eric Lofholm and I did an event together. Gosh, now it's 10 or 12 years ago in Vegas was the first one. How crazy is that? Don't know, Lisa. Looking forward to her. We connected yesterday because she sent me a message and said, hey, we're on the same platform tomorrow. I'd love to learn more about what you do. And I sent her a message back, said, connection accepted. I'd love to learn more about what you do. Now, was any of that us trying to sell each other? No, it was about creating a relationship and learning about each other. See, you've got a great opportunity here between the foundational presentations that'll be given today and the fact that you're part of this community and you can learn and share best practices with each other. That's what this is really all about, is sharing those best practices. If you'd like to learn more about what I've been talking about, go to Meetin, MEETN theauthenticconnector.com and you can learn more. And if nothing else, we can simply connect and we can talk and I can learn about what you do. One of the things that I share with people all the time is, what do I need to know about you that somebody else needs to know? Why do I ask the question? Because I truly want to learn. I want to learn about you. I do a lot of different things, and I'm very blessed to do all those things. The good news is I don't have to do everything because I got really amazing friends that do the other stuff I don't do. And so I can recommend them. I can connect them and put worthy people together. See, that's what closing more sales is really opening more relationships, because those relationships will pay dividends when the time is right. Now, what do you have to do? You have to nurture that. You have to grow it. You have to pick people up, and you have to add value. Now, what does value mean? Simply ask the other person, what could somebody do that would provide value to you in your situation? See, these are all ways to officially close more sales by opening more relationships. Again, you can get a free 164-page book at twgfreegift.com. If you want to learn more about what I've been talking about the online platform, go to Meetin, MEETN theauthenticconnector.com. And if there's ever a time that I can be of service to you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me, Scott@scottschilling.com. I do not hide very well. So my friend, Mr. Gillette, I hope that you feel that I've provided some value here today, and greatly appreciate the opportunity as always.
Cool. So It's so cool to have you here. You know, I mean, our next speaker, as Tim is, this is the first time, so I'm patiently waiting for her to get in there.
Well, she is one busy lady, that is for sure.
I know that, and yeah, I'm trying to think out. As I'm sitting here reaching out, I mean, I know, you know, I know people like Leisa and Eric. They're always going to be on time, and they're always going to be on time. But Tricia, this is the first time for us having her on the thing, and
Well, Tricia is fabulous, and she will share some absolutely amazing and tremendously valuable information. There's no doubt about that fact.
Mhm. Actually, I'm looking at my text now. Oh, that's Leisa. Thank you, Leisa. But I think, you know.
And Leisa, I look forward to connecting with you, by the way.
I didn't know that you didn't know her. I thought you guys knew each other.
No, well, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of times where you walk, you know, you see a name or you hear a name and you go, have we met? But we weren't connected. And it was one of those of, well, let's connect and let's set a time and learn about each other. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what our official powwow was there at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, Tim, what are you up to?
Well, I mean, our original, and we talked about this. Originally, you and I got introduced because I regularly, you visited a Starbucks down there by your house. And I lived in the area at the time, and Judy Hoberman, which neither one of us have heard from I haven't heard from her in ages. I missed.
No, me either.
Yeah. Judy just happened to be there, and she said, I want to introduce you to somebody, introduce you to me, you and I. And, you know, you and I think we've had coffee, a couple dozen times since
Easily.
then. And wait a minute, in a couple different cities.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. Las Vegas, Palm Springs.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's you know, that's the beauty of relationships, right? When you know, there are times where and I think we talked about this when we were together. There are times where you meet somebody and you can do business with them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where you meet somebody and you just kind of log who they are, what they do, who they do it with. And it might be literally years before a business opportunity comes up together. But once it comes up, you now have that opportunity to bring it together and accomplish something. And that's okay. And that's why when I shared today's activity does not determine today's volume was determined by what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60, 90 days from now. If you're not doing enough business today, it's not because of what you're doing today, typically. It's what you didn't do 30, 60, 90 days ago. And so the reality is, you know, you may meet somebody, but if you nurture that relationship over time, people take action when they're ready, not when you're ready. And so you've got to have trust built ahead of the time when they're ready. And that's the secret, as there is no secret. And that's why those who don't want to get to know people, you keep on not knowing people, because you're making those of us who do create and develop relationships, you're making us a lot of money. And we appreciate that.
Exactly. So anyway, and you know, in 2023, all right, what because some of the stuff I'm talking about today is challenges. What is one thing you're challenging yourself to do in 2023?
Get back out there and meet people physically. You know, it's you know, it's gotten comfortable getting behind a computer screen. And yes, it does add to your reach and all those things, but it's even like you and I having coffee here. You know, we could have done a video meeting and you could have had a cup of coffee in your office. I could have had one in my office. But
I like my office, by the way. It's comfortable.
Yeah, I know. Well, but I think that's one of the greatest challenges is getting back out and about. And like I said, it was identified in my community call last night when somebody said there's this fear pandemic that people are, you know, they haven't had to be in front of people. Now all of a sudden they're having to have clothes on. and they're being judged for what they're wearing because people see them from head to toe as opposed from shoulder up. Exactly.
Well, you weren't at the one. I did one event live November of 20. I think it was November 2021. I finally did a live event, and I actually I walked out on stage with my pajama bottoms on.
Yep.
Just to go, oh wait, this isn't a Zoom thing.
Well, that's just it. I mean, the fact is, it's what it's all about. You know, we've gotten comfortable, but sometimes comfortable can be replaced by complacent. You know, and I think the greatest challenge is getting back out there and where appropriate. Now, I have zero desire. It's funny because I said to somebody yesterday, at one time I had 150 flights a year, and I realized March 2nd will be 3 years since I've been on an airplane.
Wow.
You know, to go from 150 flights a year to not having one for 3 years. Wow. You know what I realized? I don't miss airports at all.
I don't. That is the one thing. And for me, making a decision to go mostly virtual events in 2023, I really, I accepted that because during the pandemic, I had a talk with Bob Berg on one of my podcasts, and Bob said, "That's it. I'm done traveling." I mean, and I'm like, Bob Berg to be able to say, "I'm done traveling." That's unique because, man, he's an in-demand speaker.
Yeah, I had a similar conversation with Bob, and it was just like, he goes, I don't even do that much virtual stuff anymore. You know, he just, you know, the pandemic created a reconfiguration in a lot of people's businesses and lives, and they realized what was really important and what's not. And so again, it's part of why I want to make anybody who's using video conferencing or video, I want to just get them as efficient as possible because they can enjoy their life experience more. I think what we learned through all this is to enjoy life. When I had both hips, I didn't know how bad my hips were until they weren't bad.
Yeah.
That sounds stupid. It's like, what are you stupid? You didn't feel it? No, I felt it, but you just fight through it. And then all of a sudden you don't have to. I mean, I worked out at 6:30 this morning. I was on a bike and elliptical trainer and some other stuff, and got my workout in to start the day. And it was like, well, that was awesome. You know, now I got the juices flowing and I'm ready to go for the rest of the day. So, again, I mean, I think we've got a huge opportunity because those who are stuck and mired in the muck, are going to unfortunately get passed by those who are taking affirmative action, whatever that might be. You're moving forward, you're working at it. You're learning, you're training, somebody said to me the other day, well, what if I put on a webinar and nobody shows? I said, it'll be awesome practice. You can't mess anything up. Right?
Yep.
But you'll get the feel for what it's like to be looking in the camera or looking at your material or doing the different things. The
worst that could happen is someone can watch the replay and buy anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly. But my mentor, my speaking mentor, it was so funny. He looked at me just so sternly one day, and he was trying to give me some great advice. And he just said, Scott, if you want to do what I do, do what I do. Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just it. If you want to, people say, well, I don't like the way you look on camera or whatever the case might be. Hey, that's the way you look. So it ain't the camera, then work on something else. So anyway, I appreciate it, my friend.
Yep. I appreciate you as always coming by. All right. You're always welcome here in our community. We love when you come in and share. All right. You always bring value, man. I love it.
Thanks, brother. See y'all.
All right. Bye now, bud. Thank you, Mr. Scott Schilling, for a great time today. All right. It is so good when we actually have speakers who come back on a regular basis. Like, Scott. All right. Lisa's going to, been here several times. Eric's been here. I think this is Eric's second or third time. I can't remember. All right. But it's always good when they come back because in this case, like, Lisa, I'm going to call an audible here because Tricia's not in. So I'm just going to switch it here and bring in Lisa next. But Leisa has taught this very same subject, but she always brings the new perspective because every month Lisa's growing. She's changing. She's finding ways to make life and make herself and business better. So she could teach you the same speech. I love this about you, Lisa. She could teach the same speech 4 months in a row, and it's 4 brand new speeches every month about the same topic because she takes her personal growth personally, seriously, and puts it into her speeches. Scott's the same way. I mean, every time I see Scott, all right, it could be the same subject, it could be the same outline, but there's something that Scott grew in his life. He got, like new hips or something like that. All right. He grew in a way that growth now comes in a way to teach you how to grow. And I'm into personal growth. I always have been. It is something that has driven me. It's probably one of the reasons Zig Ziglar said, Tim, you need to be in this industry, because it's driven me to be a personal growth person. When I see somebody out there teaching and I don't see them growing, I just see them teaching and selling, I'm like, but wait, shouldn't you be doing that too? And they're like, oh, no, I just teach it. I don't bring them on this podcast, on this show, because I don't want those people. I want people like the people here who are learning and growing and finding new people. So anyway, I'm going to bring up our next speaker here. Call an audible. All right. Going to bring in my wonderful and good friend. I missed her. It's the first time we're actually going to see each other on camera in a long time. So I'm going to bring her up here. If I can get her to come up. Is my thing working? All right. Let's try it one more time.
It wouldn't be fun if it were easy, right? We got to have a couple challenges today.
I love it. I have a challenge. Well, the new house, Lisa, has iffy internet. So like it can skip. It's one of the reasons I love about having multiple speakers is I'm hoping it's skipping like when I'm in the green room because the team's broadcasting. But we're getting that what do they call it? That digital or what is it called? Fiber up here. When we get that in, we get 2 companies coming in with fiber. When that gets here up in the country, we'll actually have better internet. So
nice.
Anyway.
I'm having issues myself, so I'm just going to keep the show going. And if I end up freezing at a really important point, I'll check the chat, put it in the chat, and I'll make sure and repeat whatever it was that I needed to say later on.
You bet. Do you have slides today, or are you just you?
I do. And again, if you want to let me know if anything's frozen, feel free. Yeah. I can always go without slides. So.
No. That's one of the reasons I choose StreamYard, because StreamYard will keep going. The broadcast will keep going even if you've been blipped out.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. So anyway, put your sides down there. I'll bring them up for you. All right.
Oh, you know what? Is it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
The options have changed.
They have. Okay. I wasn't expecting that, but that's all right. That's okay. I can do it without slides. I always tell, here's a speaker tip while we're getting this ready. I always tell people, you want to be ready to give your talk in a box with a fox, in a boat with a goat. You got to like be able to keep it going, keep that show going no matter what. So, all right. Did you get them or did it work? Oh, it's uploading. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all right. Do you want to wait or?
Yeah, take if it's uploading, it'll take a minute or 2, I guess. It'll get in there, but yeah.
It's processing now. Okay. Good to know.
Once it gets in there, it's all controlled by you. That is the one thing I like, because I've had someone who wanted me to control their slides. I'm like,
No.
I don't know your speech that well.
That, it's so funny. It's a great speaker tip while we're waiting for this to process too. I have seen that before, and I always advise against having someone else control your slides, because then you're just saying like next slide, next slide. It doesn't, no one wants that.
There we go.
Here we go. All right.
All right. With that, Leisa, I'm going to leave you on the clock for 30 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm here in the green room if you need me.
Okay. All right. So excited, everyone, to be here with you today. We're going to talk about how to grow your business through speaking. So if you have a message that you want to share, if you have expertise, something treasure that you're sitting on, this is a great, great topic for you, because why not share your message with many people, attract your clients through speaking? And just like Scott had said in the earlier session, you can then magnetize it, multiply it. Right on this video, I'm saying it once, but it's going to be heard multiple times over the years to come. So you can do that too. I'm Leisa Reid. Yeah, my name's spelled a little funny, but it's pronounced Lisa. And I'm the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now and the OC Speakers Network. And I've got a lot of cool tips for you today. A lot of the questions that I get, whether they're verbal or I just know that they're happening in someone's mind, is like, well, how would I actually get booked for speaking gigs? How do I get clients? And then like, how do I make money? Right? It's like, yeah, but how? It's like this, yeah, but how can I actually do it? Right? I know those are the questions that are going through people's minds. How do I know? Because I've been a speaker too. I had those same questions. It doesn't really get old, right? That's the name of the game. So what I thought I'd share with you today is some tips on how to answer some of those questions so that you can start getting booked and making money, right? We're going to talk about the number one secret to getting booked. We're going to talk about strategies to attract your ideal clients, and you can just plug and play wherever you are in the speaking realm, whether you're just getting started, whether you're advanced. These are going to be really helpful for you, whether you're speaking for 30 seconds at a networking event virtually, or you're in person, or you're actually speaking with the microphone, etc. And then we're going to talk about the speaker's monetization formula. I have found that this is something no one's really talking about. When you're just getting started, you're like, how do I actually make money doing this? This is really going to help you see how you can start to make sure, does speaking fit into your life? Does speaking make sense for your business? And for some of you, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting on a treasure trove. I should be doing this yesterday, right? So I'm going to share with you how to calculate that. A little itsy bit about me. I am the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now. I mentioned that earlier, and the OC Speakers Network and the Speakers Training Academy. I got started. I share this because it's like you can get started whenever you want as a speaker. Now, I happen to have a bachelor's and master's degree in speech communication, but you don't need one in order to speak. You just need to have a message that you're like ready to share, wanting to share, have a desire to share, to help more people. That's who I love to work with. And so I was hired as a professional speaker when I was 40 years old. I'm 50 now, but so that was about 10 years ago. And I thought, even though I had my degrees in speaking, I'm like, I don't know how this whole speaking thing works. Like, I got a lot to learn, just like what Tim was referencing earlier. It's like always learning, right? And so I started a organization called the OC Speakers Network, because I thought, I'm going to hang out with some other speakers and really like see what the whole deal is about. That was the best. And we still have it going on how you can do that. But people started asking me all the time, how did you get booked? Because in my first year as a speaker, I booked 83 speaking engagements in my local area. And I used those speaking engagements to meet new people, meet new prospects, and attract clients into the workshop that I was tasked to fill, many workshops. And so people were always asking me for help. That's why my company, Get Speaking Gigs Now, is about getting the gig. I know a lot of people have a really powerful message, but if no one's hearing it, it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. So I always want to make sure like we get that message out there, because then you can start to refine it, get better, hone your skills, right? If you're just practicing inside your house with no one hearing you, it's not really going to get better, right? So you need that feedback. All right, so let's keep this show going. So let me tell you about this secret to a steady stream of speaking referrals. This is really because something that organically happened through the OC Speakers Network. And it's something I call Find Your Speaker Soulmate. I'll explain what a speaker soulmate is in a minute. So basically, this is someone who speaks at a similar frequency as you. They are someone you know, like, and trust. Obviously, you're going to know, like, and trust them. And they speak to a similar audience, but they're not your competition. So, for example, when I was in the OC Speakers Network, I met another speaker. She spoke on something completely different than me, but our audiences were the same. I would speak to a lot of sales teams at the time. I was speaking about mindset, and she speaks on follow-up. And so it kind of worked out. Like we weren't selling the same thing. We weren't really in the same industry, but our audiences were the same. So we started to get to know each other. And she also was using speaking as her main way of growing business and attracting clients, as was I. So it just started to work out really well. Now, she's also super organized. She's really reliable. She's a really nice person. She's professional. I attended some of her events. She attended mine. We went on, a different trip together. So I had enough interaction to know I could really trust her. We started referring back and forth, and we still do that. She was moved out of state, and we were still able to continue to develop our referral relationship. She has referred over 100 speaking engagements for me over the years. I'm probably way, way more than that. I lost track of count eventually. But what I want to share with you is that the power in this is that it's one person. This is one relationship that can actually totally transform your business. So I just want you to kind of take those blinders off and open up the eyes of say oh, wow, there's people out there who if I got to know them, think of it as like speaker dating, I got to know them. Do I like what their personality? Do I know, like, and trust them? Are they offering something of value? Would they be willing to start this speaker soulmate relationship with me, right? That's the key right there. Now I have a few speaker soulmates, but not a ton. And what this does allows me to without having to get any cold calls in, which I haven't met a ton of speakers who love cold calling. Okay. Most people don't like it. We want to be on stage, right? We want to be talking to people. So I want you to write down who is your speaker soulmate, just for your own notes. You can put it in the chat if you want, but give yourself that task for the next couple of days. Think, I want to really reach out to a couple of people that come to mind that might be a speaker soulmate for me. Set up a time to meet. Say, hey, I've got this idea. I'm out there speaking. I think you're out there speaking, or you want to be. Can we talk about what it would look like to refer each other speaking engagements, right? And you will be surprised how simple and easy it is. I share this because anybody can do this. Like if you're just getting started, find someone who's just getting started. Yeah, you're going to probably need to do a little bit of outreach and cold calling when you're just getting started. But eventually it all starts to really take a life of its own, and it can actually transform your business super easily. All right. So I told you I'm going to give you a free ticket to the OC Speakers Network, because what we do there is we actually have a speaker referral circle part of the meeting. I go to a lot of networking meetings where they're like, oh, I'm looking for speaking engagements. I'm like, well, you should come, because we're actively doing that in the meeting, is saying who has a podcast show, who has a stage that they want to share, who knows someone who just spoke somewhere, right? It's all about really connecting. And we also share really cool stuff about speaking, of course, and always have a lot of fun speaker mingle time. So you're welcome to come. It's the first Tuesday of the month. It is a virtual meeting. So we have people from all over the world actually come and join us. And yes, if you want to speak in a different country or you want to speak in a different state, well, I'm handing it to you on a silver platter here. So I'm going to give you a free ticket to join. If you're watching this live or on the recording, you just hold up your phone and you can get the QR code, or go to getspeakinggigs.com/OCSN-free-access. That's a little bit harder, but I'll put those links in the Facebook comments when I'm finished. Okay. So free pass, that is for you. And we do meet once a month, the first Tuesday of the month, 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time. All right. So I want to share with you a couple strategies of how to actually attract your ideal clients. And I think of them as peanut butter and jelly, because you've got peanut butter on toast is really good. Jelly on toast is really good. They're both great separate, but they're also great together. So I want you to think about these two strategies as that. They can be separate or they can be together. You can use these strategies whether you're speaking like with the microphone on stage, virtual, in person, or you can also use one or two of these strategies if you're out networking and they say, oh, everyone has a minute to introduce themselves, or maybe you're in a small group. Oh, we have a couple of minutes to introduce ourselves. This take a nice cleansing breath. There we go. I think I froze for a second, but I'm back. I didn't say anything important. Don't worry. I waited. All right. So the first one is to actually share how you solve a problem. Instead of saying, like, for example, like, I'm Leisa Reid and I'm a, let's make something up. Like, I'm a realtor and I help people buy and sell homes, right? It's like, no, what if you shared it in a way of like, I help new home buyers who've never gotten a loan before get into their first dream house, right? So maybe that's your niche market. So for me, like, I help entrepreneurs who have never given a talk before create their signature talk. I call it Get Your Talk Ready to Rock, so that they can step on stage for the very first time with confidence and certainty rather than be overwhelmed with anxiety and frustration and end up giving up before they ever get on stage, right? So you see, that's a little bit more juicy. It's like, oh, I'm not going to like fall asleep when she's talking. We want to wake people up when you're introducing yourself or sharing something. You want to give them an idea of the problems to look out for. So now you might think, oh, I know someone who wants to speak and they've never done it before. They should talk to Leisa, right? Now, I also work with people who have spoken before, but maybe they haven't had a lot of success. Maybe they've some of the problems I solve, they'll say, Leisa, I am so sick of speaking for free. I'm ready to make money. Now, I already know instantly, ooh, that's an interesting problem. Now it's a problem, but I already know that we need to just make a few tweaks. I call it fill the holes in the bucket, right? Like, there's something going on. There's a hole in the bucket that you're not aware of that I can probably help with a few tweaks so that you are, whether you're speaking for free or not, you're still attracting your clients and making money, right? That's a very, very common problem that I hear. So those are a couple of ways that I solve problems. I help get their talk ready to rock. I help them fill the holes in the bucket of their sales when they're speaking for free but not making any money. We don't want that. We want to make sure that you can monetize any speaking engagement you have, whether there's a speaker fee attached at the front end or not. We want to make sure that you're making decisions that really help you in your business so you're not wasting your time, so that you know an easy yes and easy no, and that you leverage the crap out of any speaking engagement that you have, whether it's virtual, live, in person, recorded, whatever, right? We want to make sure you do that. All right. So now the second strategy is share stories. Now, here's where you could, instead of saying, oh, this is what I do, and this is, that kind of boring 1-minute commercial that you hear on those virtual meetings or even in person, and you can say, let me tell you a story, right? All of a sudden, people are going to be like, oh, she's going to tell a story. Let me listen. It just wakes us up, right? We love hearing stories. And you probably heard so many speakers and speaker trainers and like storytelling. It's why? Because it's real. It's important. That's sucked into shows. We want to see who's going to win. How's the transformation going to look, right? So let me tell you a story about one of my clients. She came to me. Now, she was already a seasoned speaker, right? Remember, I help seasoned and new. But she was completely shifting her industry. And she was speaking about grief instead of what she used to speak on, which was like QuickBooks and stuff like that. Very different topics. Now, she had some hesitation because she wasn't sure if it was okay to talk about grief. Like, is that all right? Can I do that? What if people cry? What if they're upset? Like, is it okay to do that? And so we worked through creating her. We got her talk ready to rock, and really the audiences that would be best suited for her, because she actually speaks to corporations and helps them like navigate, like when an employee goes through something, how do you actually navigate that as a company? What are you going to do? And she ended up not only crushing it, I mean, she got booked for her bucket list conference, but she also got $5,000 and $10,000 speaking fees to go along with her talk. So here she went from like, oh my gosh, I don't know if anyone wants to hear this, and is this good, to completely nailing it, right? So if you're sitting on something like that where you're like, you know that people need to hear this message, well, then we want to make sure that you get that package really nicely so that you can feel confident to come out of that speaker closet and say like, hey, this is my stuff and you should hear it, right? It's very, very powerful. And everyone's got their own thing. I have other clients who speak on grief too, but she had her own spin, and that's just like you have your own spin and whatever it is that you're sharing. All right, so we're going to talk about the speaker monetization formula, and that way we can make sure you are aware of how to actually make money while you're speaking. Now, it's funny because here's a new thing I just learned about StreamYard. I can't I animate any of the points. So like Tim said, we're always learning, right? So usually I would just do this a little slowly, but we just have it all right here. All right, so the speaker monetization formula comes in 3 components. And I'm going to walk you through a couple examples and then we'll work on it ourselves. So right now, just sort of sit back, relax, sort of take in this information. The first point is obviously the price of your product or service. Now, you probably have multiple products or services. That's okay. Pick your main one that you sell most of the time. And if you don't have one yet, make one up. Like, we're just for the example, right? And let's say I always like to make math pretty simple. So I would say make it if it's a price point of 1,000, or if it's like $9.97 or $7.97, so just round it to the nearest 100 or 1,000. And then you're going to think, okay, how many speaking engagements would I have each year? It could be virtual, it could be in person. Don't get too in the weeds about it. It's no big deal. I make money either way. My clients make money either way. You can money virtual speaking, external speaking. Most of my clients speak 12, 24, 36 times a year. So you think like once, twice, or 3 times a month. And what would that look like for you? What would that look like in your schedule? Especially virtual, you think, oh, well, I don't have to travel. I just click the button. Maybe that's a couple hours of your time, or maybe even only an hour. Then I want you to think about how many clients would you actually attract at that gig, right? And to make it simple for you, I want you to think about a number between 1 and 5. All right. And I say that because if you're at a little bit higher price point, like 1,000 and up, it's maybe a little lower. If you have a product that's $20 and you're going for volume, it's going to be higher. So again, this is where it depends on you and your product, your program. That's why it's the speaker monetization formula. It's different for every single person. It's different for where you are in your business, how much experience you have, etc. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple examples, and you can just see how quickly we can tweak this to make sure that it works for you. So here's an example of $1,000 product or service. This person speaks, and these are examples. They're not real, but they're just so you can get the math. 24 times a year, and then they attract two clients at each gig. So that's 48 clients, which equates to 48,000, because we're basically just going to multiply this whole thing together, right? So simple, right? So if you could use an extra $48,000 and you've got a product that's about $1,000, you think, oh, I could probably squeeze in a couple speaking engagements a month, right? Most of us could do that. We're like, I could do that, right? Cool. Okay, well then we're cooking. Now let me give you another example. And then this is where you start to see like, oh, a couple of tweaks here, we could really make a difference. Let's say your product or service is in the $5,000 range. Still speak the same amount of time, 24 times a year, but maybe now you only attract 1 client, so 24 clients. That actually is $120,000. So you see how sometimes we need to look at our pricing. This is totally unique to each person, and the service that you're offering and the value. I find that a lot of times speakers really undervalue what they're offering because they don't see like, oh, the lifetime of what they could do. Like you imagine if you got your talk ready to rock and you were then able to use that talk over and over again, or maybe just learn the model so then you can change your topic. How much money would that give you over time? It's pretty significant, right? All right, let's do another one. Oh, sorry. Let's have you, I'm going to give you a second to do yours. Okay, so let's say, go ahead and fill in your number, What's that price point of the service or product that you're going to offer, that you offer the most? And that would be, line number 1. Select 12. That's typically what I usually do, as about 4 or 5 a month. And then select 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Like, how many clients do you think you would actually be able to attract with that talk that you're going to create? And then that number, when you multiply those numbers together, equals your speaker sales potential. Obviously, this isn't set in stone. It can change, it can grow, right? You can fluctuate it depending on what you're offering. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're selling the item, that $5,000 item or $10,000 item or whatever, $100 item. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're offering that at your talk, but what is that next step that people would need to make in order to come into your world and be a part of your program, right? So this is a great way to really attract your clients too. See what I'm saying? All right. So to recap, we talked about the secret to a steady stream of speaking referrals. Remember, it's the speaker soulmate system. So I want you to go out there, find a couple people that you can chat with, see who would be your speaker soulmate. Who would that be? And that's what we do in the Speakers Training Academy that I lead. I set everything up where there's actually like a speaker mastermind so people can meet those other people. Like, where might that speaker be? Where would they be? Who is that person? Because that one relationship could give you hundreds of speaking engagements over your career. This isn't a short game. This is a long game, which is super exciting. It means like you can use speaking for the rest of your career. You could get booked and stay booked for the rest of your career. Then we also talked about those strategies to attract your clients. You can actually practice those strategies when you're at the OC Speakers Network that I gave you the ticket for, and I'll put that in the chat later. But you can actually use that, those strategies of how do you solve problems, how do you share stories while you're at the OC Speakers Network and finding your speaker soulmate too. Pretty cool how you can do that. So there's all this stuff available to us that we didn't even know that it's there. It's just right there waiting for you. It's right there. And then that speaker monetization formula. How is this going to work for your business? Would speaking make sense? Even if maybe you're a little scared, you're like, oh, I've never done this before. Well, there's a lot of people out there who started and never done it before. I was 40. I had never, even though I don't mind speaking, I wasn't afraid of it. I still had a lot to learn. I'm still learning. I'm always learning, right? So when you think about it, and it really makes sense to add that extra money to your bottom line for a couple hours a month, I think so. In this day and age with virtual, you can speak so many different places. It's amazing. So I'd love to hear what your monetization. There we go. We're back. All right. So what I want to offer everyone here today is a speaker readiness assessment. This is a time that you and I will get to spend together. It's about an hour on the phone. There's some questions that I'm going to ask you about your situation. What do you love about speaking? What's the problem right now? Like, why are you not doing it yet? How can I best support you? What website do you want me to take a look at before we talk? Because I really want to see, like, what's your situation? I want to get into your world. What's going on? Why are you so compelled to speak, but it's not happening yet? We need to get your message out there. And if it makes sense for us to talk about joining the Speakers Training Academy, we'll do that. We'll decide together because we're adults and we get to do that kind of thing. So there's a couple of ways that you can get some time with me. You can go to the QR code that's right there on the screen, and you can go to getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat. That's getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat. It's gigs because you want more than one, right? You want lots of gigs. And that'll take you directly to the questions and to my calendar. And if you're watching this today, awesome, grab it. If you're watching this when it's a completely different time of year or it's next year or whatever, grab it. It's going to be there for you. And I'd love to support you and hear your story about what it is that you're trying to create. So really it is a speaker readiness assessment. Like, where are you at? Are you ready to get started? My whole thing is I want you to be ready to say yes. If somebody calls you and says, or emails you or reaches out to you and says, we need a speaker tomorrow, we need someone, I want you to be like, yep, no problem. I got it. I have everything ready. Here you go. I can't wait. Where's the microphone? How long do I have? Right? That's what I really want for you, because you are actually out there to inspire other people, right? Because you can help them with whatever your expertise is. That's, to me, the cat's meow, is that everyone gets to actually give those gifts that you're really, really good at and help other people, and so on and so forth. That's why I do what I do. I'm going to go ahead and here's another way you can access this speaker readiness assessment. There's a QR code's the same code, and it's also that getspeakinggigsnow.com/chat is right on there. That's a free speaker readiness assessment for you. We'll talk about all the things speaking that are going on in your world. I'm going to turn it back on over to Tim. I'm hoping he is in the green room there, waiting patiently. And there he is. Oh my gosh. Hello.
Hello.
All right.
Isn't it fun to come in and share and speak like this?
So fun.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how to.
I'm playing games with all the things I'm allowed to do in this. You know that.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I know, it's so weird. I'm like, oh, StreamYard, you changed something. Okay, cool. Yay. Always learning. Always learning.
The new thing that StreamYard has allows me to give a VIP room with up to 250 people. I don't know if you know that. It's like a webinar type. That's what this is now on. So like people, that's why like I give certain people in the group access to it. All right, that they don't have to go watch it on Facebook or YouTube. They can watch it in here and still comment and interact. And then I allow my speakers to bring in, like you. So I send a message. You can actually have people come in the VIP room now. They don't have to go buy a ticket. So.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I learned about a new Emojipedia. Have you heard of that?
I have not heard of that one.
It's like you can find all the different emojis really easily on there and just copy and paste them. I'm like, that's great. I love that. So I just learned that the other day. Yeah. Always cool to learn new things.
I know, like this month, everybody's talking about that, AI thing. And I'm not sure how I'm going to put that in or not. But like we do a thing, all these different little websites now, I'm going to check them out. And then in my mastermind, we all play with them on my mastermind before I bring them here.
Yeah, I've been learning about that as well. It is a whole new world. We are on the precipice of everything changing.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I redirected everything I'm doing in 2023, because my coach did a presentation for his mastermind, and he actually said, I don't know if I'd want to be a content creation coach nowadays. And I'm thinking, that's what I do. Oh my God, do I need to reframe what I do now? So like I'm you know what I mean? I'm always looking at ways to tweak and everything. Starting a whole website division for people, for branding, things like that. But it's just, it made me think. And I've always heard that, you think you're secure in what you do and you're set for life. You ain't.
Yeah, I think the new commodity is connection.
Yeah.
Because AI can do certain things, but it can't replace yet. Hey, I'm not in the.
You know what? Yeah, truthfully,
can't replace the connection relationship.
Yeah, it can't connect, or it cannot replace you and I talking on here and what you and I were talking about, how it made you think of something, and now we changed the whole dynamic of our conversation.
Yeah,
it can't replace that. It can't. You know what I mean? That's and that's what I've always been about. That even with when I had my podcast and everything was always about the connection. All right, and it's so true. And you going into a room, all right, and putting your stuff up, you could pull the outline from AI, but there is no way that no way the room's going to interact with that until you start telling your story with it, right?
Yeah, when I help people get their talk ready to rock, it's really
Had a lot of hiccups today.
They're unique, only you know that thing. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm always looking for and listening for with a person, which is different than of artificial intelligence. Like they're pulling stuff that's already been created. So I'm interested in like, no, what's your thing? What
Mhm.
do you bring to the table that nobody else can bring to the table? And we all have something, with just a little different take on it. And that's how you attract the clients that are best suited for you.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about content this morning, Lisa. So before 5 minutes before I went live today, in front of my house was 3 police cars who pulled over a worker
Oh,
for the house. Well, our house 2 doors down caught fire at Christmas Eve. All right,
oh,
and it burned. And one of the workers who's repairing it was pulling up the street today, and he was followed by a police officer.
huh.
And then a second one come in, and then a third one come in. Like I live out in the country now. I don't live in town Dallas.
So
I
you're
live
like,
out in
oh dear,
the
what's
country.
happening?
I'm like, what the heck? I mean, I've got a line of police cars right here, a bunch of action, and literally not 2 minutes before I went live, the lady who owns the house came over and moved the worker's car into the driveway, and the police all drove away. So
Okay.
interesting morning. I could have just set a camera right up here and made content this morning.
It's exciting stuff. What can I say?
The world changes. And do you know Scott Simpson, by the way? Video marketing world.
I don't know. I don't think so,
Okay.
but he sounds cool.
He started as a YouTube creator, and then Jeremy, I can't remember Jeremy's name. Jeremy and his wife started Video Marketing World, but Scott bought it from them.
Okay.
All right. And Scott is a content creator who's really great at coaching people on what content to create. Whereas you're coaching them on how to stand in front of a room, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's all about getting them on camera to talk about their jobs. And I never thought about this, but he did a whole video this week talking about what's your job. I'll give you video content. Just throw it in the comments. Throw your job. And one person put in, I'm a trash man. And he went, oh my gosh, could I make video about that? What do you find in the trash? You know what I mean? But I went to get my haircut last week, and every one of the barbers had lights set up, and the camera, either they were using it to film the haircut they were giving, or they had it set up in case they wanted to.
Wow.
That's the
whole new world.
Creation, and there's no AI that's going to take over that. And I'm only imagining that if they're just recording it, or if later on they're going to narrate it, and if they narrate it, all right, are they good at telling the story? Do they need to hire someone like you to go, hey, let me help you narrate that story better, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's hard to see the label. It's our own stuff. We start thinking, oh, I don't know. Everyone already knows this, or like, is this really that good? Like, we just start to question ourselves and can go down this pretty silent, but like quiet hiding. And sometimes you just need that other person to say, no, what you have is really good. Like, but let's just do a couple tweaks, let's package it a little different. A lot of the part that back to content creation is, how do I create learning points that actually sound interesting? Because a learning point, you have to basically say what you're going to say without saying what you're going to say. And that's like what? How do I do that?
Yeah.
It is a skill.
And that's, I by all means, I was not an expert at it, but that's what Zig's seen in me in the early stages, that, with proper connections over the years, being, I've trained through James and Tom Ziegler and Craig Duswalt have been my mentors over the years, who trained me how to perfect that. But like that being it, that right there, that niche of being able to share it without sharing, that's Zig's seen that in me. I didn't.
That's
I
awesome.
thought, no, man, I don't know how to do that, right? But some of us won't plug into a mentor who goes, like you, who probably sees more speakers a month than I do, can probably go, hey, have you really thought about, how good you are when you walk to the front of the room? Now, we all need improvement, right? But you have skills that Joe over here doesn't have. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Well, it's also really hard to improve if you don't actually speak. I mean, the best way to be better speaker and better selling from stage is to do it. It's like reading a manual about how to drive a stick shift. Like you could read the manual 100 times. If you don't actually get in the car, you're not going to learn. And you not just take one drive around the parking lot, you need to do it again and again. And oh, now there's a hill. Oh, there's the freeway. Oh, this, you know, sudden stops. Like that's what learning is. And sometimes I think people are a little hard on themselves when it's learning something new.
So it's funny you say that, as I mean, something you've never experienced. You live in California, but like I learned how to drive in the snow.
Oh, I grew up in Alaska. Gotcha.
But our audience,
I grew up at,
many of our audience has never dealt with this. I know some of our audience lives in Canada. All right, but that idea of learning to drive in the snow, I can do it very easily. I know how to do it. Ice now is a temperamental thing to play with, but snow, I know how to do it, and to the point that I'm pretty cocky about doing it.
Well, and also it's definitely translates to entrepreneurialism because you still need to have the right equipment. Like a lot of times, you know, here in California, they have the thing called snow chains or snow, you know, tire, chains for your tires.
Oh, we're coming back. I promise. Learn how to drive on a watermelon field in a truck and stick shift. You back.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. A watermelon field in a truck. Yeah. I don't know how to drive in a watermelon field, but that sounds tricky.
Yeah. So, well, Leisa, I want to thank you for coming by again. All right. Yeah. It is so, it's always great to hear you share. And I'm always glad you've been several times, you've been a member of the community here and shared with your message. And I'm hoping you're creating some speakers out of this.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think so. And I'll keep you posted for sure. I'll put some stuff in the Facebook chat as well, so everyone has that. And can't wait to hear the next speakers.
All right. So I thank you so much. I will see you next time, Leisa. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Thank you, Leisa Reid. All right. I love Leisa. By the way, she is the one person who spells my grandmother spelled her name Lesa, Lisa. And I always told Lisa, you know, that weird spelling, I love it because that was when my grandmother spelled her name. Anyway, watermelons fly every which way. All right. Yes. Thank you, Lisa. All right. And let me pull down my banners here and play my games. So anyway, today, guys, all right, we've had two speakers come in so far, all right, both Scott sharing his, ways to close more sales, Leisa sharing how to grow your business through speaking, all right. Still no connection from Tricia, so hey, it happens, all right, different schedules get mixed up, maybe messages got crossed, it's okay, we move forward. Anyway, I was going to share with us next, and I wanted to share today what I talk about, the simple, easy content challenges that will help you start your list. That's what I want to share today because I really thought about this, and I'm actually going to make sure that I can actually put a presentation in here. Yeah, maybe I'll. Okay, that's why. All right. So I will actually figure this out here in a little bit, but apparently my, the certain things are not saved in a certain way. I'm going to try to open it with. It does not. Maybe, it won't do files, but maybe I'll just do it as a presentation over here. Anyway, I'm going to share with you guys today about content challenges. So, and I'm actually going to try to get this thing to play. Nope, stop. All right. It will mess my whole system up. I didn't test this out because of the fact that I thought this was all good to go. And just like Leisa says, things change. We just have to adapt with the change. So here, what I'm going to do is see if it does it from there. No, it doesn't. Anyway, I am just going to have to adapt with it because I screwed up. No big deal. I will make this work in another way. All right. Today. Anyway, so we're going to remove that screen today, bring this screen back over here, and I'm going to share with you that basically, ladies and gentlemen, all right, things can get messed up. Why do you need to start a challenge when doing content? As I share with you, January, we all start out with this idea that we want to do big things in the new year. 2023 now is, is 1 month, and 2/3 of the second month are now over with. They're done, right? There's only 12 months in this year. So, it's time to get up there and get things going, because if you don't at the end of this month, now it's the third month in, and you only have 10 months left to create. Getting started on doing anything is going to be a challenge in life. So often, we all want to do this get started thing, but we all feel like, I don't know, I have to, I have to do it on the first day of the month. I have to do it on the first day of the week. I have to do it first. We set this mindset of how we have to start, and then if we don't start it there, we're going to fail. And one of the things that I did over the years is I've always done these content challenges where I used to have a 30-day blogging challenge and a 21-day live streaming challenge. And I still have them somewhere. I'm not sure if they're downloadable or not anymore. I'd have to go look to find them. It's been a long time since I gave them out, but I still have them. I still have them set up in my things, and email me, info@timswhat.com. I'll find them for you and send them to you if you want them. But creating the challenge on a monthly basis. I started out in 2010 haphazardly throwing out content here, throwing out content there. And if something would happen and I go, I can write a great blog post on this, and I would write it and put it up. And then I do nothing. And then I do, and something else would come up and I try it again. And then I do nothing. And something else I try it again, and then I do nothing. Finally, in 2010 ended, and the biggest grow up moment of my life happened. As some of you who know my story, New Year's Eve 2010, which now is 13 plus years ago, I get the call on New Year's Eve that my father passed away. That's a memorable thing, as you're about to start a new year. And really, as a man, grow up point is the day you lose your father. And it's like, oh my God, I really have to get things underway. I spent most of January and February that year helping my mom, getting the house cleaned out. All right, spent a ton of time up there in the Poconos, with getting my dad's stuff cleaned out of my house, getting things ready, changing the world. And on occasion, I would put content out, and that became March of that year was when I went, wait a minute, it's time to get this thing off the ground. And I made a commitment in March of 2010. I was going to post a blog a day, 5 days a week, take Saturday and Sunday off for a year straight. Now, at the time I was following this guy, his name was Steve Scott, and he was doing a challenge similar to that. Steve Scott was doing a challenge where he was posting a blog a day for a complete 1 year, no matter where he was. And he was traveling the world at the time. All right. Some nights he was staying in a tent, and he still was able to get the blog post up. And I'm like, I can do this. I can post on a regular basis. What does it take to get started? Well, in the beginning, you're just throwing out an idea here. Next day, come up with an idea. Next day, come up with an idea. Then I went and formed it I built a theme, because I was posting 5 days a week. I would post a weekly theme and then post 5 different break the subject down into 5 different subjects, all right, for that week's content. The bottom line is I had to get started. So many of you out there right now are looking at, well, I need to get started. Well, how can I start a challenge that will get me going? one of the things that I was going to do was, is showing this challenge. And I wish I could get this, because I didn't save it in Keynote, and I should have saved it in PowerPoint. But anyway, let's see if it'll let me do it this way. It won't. All right. But anyway, one of the things that I looked at was, as one of the things I ask people to post about on a regular basis is habits. You've got to create a habit of creating content on a regular, consistent basis. That's all it comes down to. You've got to build a habit to do whatever it is. Every week, the world's going to throw you challenges. Every month, the world's going to throw you challenges. Every day, the world's going to throw you challenges that are going to keep you from doing the habits you need to succeed. So a challenge, what it does is you go, you know what? I can do this for the next 10 days. I remember when I get into live stream video, and broadcasting on a really regular basis, and it was in 2015. And one of the apps that I was on a regular basis, everybody was doing this thing. I'm like, I'm just going to start a show. So I did, I think my first, I don't have all of them, but I saved some of them. It was my brand at the time was Rock Around Your Blog. And I was doing the Rock Around Your Blog show, where I actually would bring out a subject, and then I'd bring people coming in and out, to talk about the subject of the day. And at the time I was watching other people do very similar things, and I realized I had to do consistency with content. As a blogging coach or a content creation coach, I had to be consistent at doing something on a regular basis. If I didn't, I was then one of those people, as I talked about earlier, a self-improvement person who was not improving myself. That was reality. Well, someone I met through the live streaming world did this thing. I think it was a 14-day, in 2016, early in 2016, she did this 14-day, she would do them on a regular basis, live stream challenges. And basically every morning she would send you an email that said, okay, do a live stream post today about this. And you'd have to go create the content about it. You didn't know what you were going to have to create the next day. And I was like, man, I like that challenge, because number one, it got me to think on my feet. Number two, it got me to create the habit. You see, the biggest problem with doing anything consistently in the world, whether it be a live show, a monthly event, even me trying to get this down to this monthly event, was creating a series of habits to make it happen. And everything that you do is all about creating that habit. The challenge, what it does is get you going and get you in the habit of doing that action. One of the things that I used to do when working at Starbucks, we would have a trainee come in, they would go through all the training. I think it was like 12 or 14 days of training. And then after the training cycle was done, I had a store manager who seen that I was able to get people to do a certain thing. So she would put them on a night shift with me. And I ran the night shift. I was a night shift supervisor. Generally ran between 2 or 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. close. And I would work with new people all the time, because I found a way to get them to understand the concept at Starbucks. Now, if you work at Starbucks and you're watching this, I'm not sure it's that way now, because I don't see that habit formed as much as I used to when I worked at Starbucks before myself. And that was, I would teach them a game that we would play at night. The game had a purpose. The game was not just, hey, they thought we were just having fun on the night shift. They had no idea that I was doing it to teach them the very concept that I learned. And the very concept that I learned was I had to actually do 2 things at one time. The ideals behind working, not just Starbucks, but working in retail, this should be an ideal. You have to learn two actions. Whether you're behind the counter wrapping up or doing the sales, of the transaction, or at Starbucks, you're behind the counter making the coffee. You have to be able to make the coffee, work on the register, and talk to the customer at the same time. The sale's not done and completed until the transaction is finished and they are walking out the door with product in hand. Up until that point, that just because you're getting the money does not mean the transaction's finished. The transaction is not finished until they walk out the door with product in hand and you now have the money exchange in your hand. So you have to continue the conversation even during the transaction. I did this the first couple days I worked at Starbucks, and I was put on register on a busy morning, and I had to learn where all the buttons were. You know, I have this wonderful thing on my desk. It's called Stream Deck. All right. And I really can't, I have everything strapped to my desk, so I can't turn it. All right. To show you, I can switch cameras though, and really make this fun. All right. See, I have a second camera. So let me switch cameras real quick and show you guys that I can actually, what I'm doing here. So I have this thing right here. It's a little thing called Stream Deck. It comes up with buttons onto it to push. It's almost like looking at a cash register. That's what the cash register was in my day working at Starbucks. I had a bunch of buttons that I had to look at, and I had to figure it out. My first day on the job, and I'm trying to fit all these buttons. In the meantime, I got a line of people backing up because they want their coffee. They're there to get their coffee. How do I get past the awkwardness that I don't know where their drink is on the button to push? How do I get past that? And how do I get past it faster? I learned to talk to the customer and ask them questions. I learned now to do two things. I could talk to the customer, and I could actually work with the customer while doing the transaction I had to do. I learned that in the early days, and then learned how important that was in the job, which became part of me creating the game, which became part of the training to help the new people come in. Was I wanted them to learn how to A, be making the drink with your hands, and B, be able to look up and hold a conversation with the person you are in front of you. That's a habit that takes to do that. I had to learn with the game to learn how to do that. If you understand the idea of building habits to get you success, you will understand the very concept that no matter what you do, you're going to have to train yourself to do it. I told you all that story to get you back to. You have to train yourself because some of these things are unnatural to do. It is unnatural to sit down every day, write out an outline, turn the camera on, and do a broadcast. It is unnatural then for me to actually put it into my schedule to go in, transform that video into several different videos, or transform that video, all right, into an audio. There's tasks that go with it that I'm going to have to do. I don't want to. I have to build a habit of doing it so that when I get up in the morning, okay, this is what I have to do. I build a series of checklists to build habits. See? Checklists. I have wonderful checklists for a self-employed guy that I go through every checklist on there of doing every task, including this event. Everything has a checklist that I have to do day before, week before, 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before. Tomorrow, on this virtual event, I have a whole nother set of checklists that check in. I didn't start that way. I built the habits to get that way so I can consistently, month after month, put on an event. Now we take this down to content. If you have to create content on a regular basis, yes, we talked, Lisa and I mentioned a little bit about this new thing. Everybody's talking about, Chat GPT and open whatever it is, right? It's great to go create an outline, but you have to create the content on a regular basis. You have to put your stories behind it. You have to put something behind it to make that content so personal that they know it's from you. I hope you understand that. And you have to do this consistently. I developed an idea of creating a challenge to get you to go out and talk. Turn the camera on. Here's the subject, talk. That's one of the things that I learned to do. Now, as I look through all the stuff of being consistent, why did I actually choose this month to actually do something and create a challenge? Well, this is number one, the shortest month of the year. 28 days, all right, Is it 28? Yeah. So we're on the 21st. This day next week is the last day of this month. This is the shortest month of the year. If you have to do something and you want to go, hey man, I want to do it for 1 month straight, this is the month to do it in. Because if you do it in this month every day, it's the shorter month. It gives you a shorter time span to build that habit. Still, it takes 21 days, I said, whatever, to build it. Once you build the habit, it will be easier to maintain the habit of motion. So here's what I did is I actually went and created a 28-day challenge that I could give to people and say, you know what, go do a 5 to 10 minute video about this every day. Do it on a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, TikTok video, whatever it is. Turn your camera on and do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, all right? In the beginning, not many people are going to be watching it, so don't worry about it. By the way, when not many people are watching, that's the best time to do it because you're going to make mistakes. As Leisa said, she can't teach you how to speak, but you got to get in front of the room to start doing it so that you will be better at it, right? She can teach you everything to do to get to the front of the room. But anyway, I had to learn that this month was the time to get active and create a challenge. Let me tell you why. Number one, I have spent the past 6 months, yes, ladies and gentlemen, 6 months yesterday in a new house. In 2022, all right, if you watch my virtual event at the end of 2022, I shared with people the message of what I went through in December, what I went through last year. Just some tough times, all right, that I had to move from my condo, get another house, move, and I got moved out to the country and get it all set up. Over the past 6 months, I've been dealing with all kinds of issues that, like, little by little, we're working on getting our house more in order. But I have to work on issues like, you know what I mean, getting my daily habits in place to work my office, run my business, still go out, coach people, still go out and run trainings to help people, still build websites, which is our new venture, is building websites for people. All those things, get them all set up. I was having a problem of building the habit of doing the daily tasks. I get up and I just do what I felt like doing. I wasn't doing the checklists to go through it. In December, in January, I started to realize I need to get this on target. I'm not going to be able to accomplish it all in one day, but I need to start. And I decided in February to start. I went back to the roots. All right. Anytime you have a problem, go back to the roots of what you did to be successful before. Get started there. Now, my system's not perfect. I rewrote my entire checklist for a weekly to-do list. Had to totally change it all up. And every week, I'm still adjusting it. I'm now the 3rd week into doing it, and I'm still adjusting what I do on Tuesdays. Still adjusting what I do on Wednesdays. Still adjusting what I do in the morning. Still doing it. But the first thing I went back to doing was spending time at Starbucks in the morning, not holding my electronic device, doing this. Instead, put the device down and just calmly think for a moment about my day. What do I have to handle that day? What do I have to get done? What's on my checklist that day? What is it that I've been putting off? Spend about 15 minutes just thinking about it. Meditation day, right? Second thing that got me going. Number one was getting back into habits that I've been before, and I had to get started. And again, you're not going to do them all perfect once. You're going to do, actually, just to recap there, you're not going to do them all perfect at once. You're going to actually take and grow into it piece by piece to build you back into that zone you were in happiness. Getting organized. Cleaning up my world. Number 2 thing that I learned to do was it's time to clean my world up. Time to clean my world up. One of the greatest things in the world, all right, that I had to learn to do was cleaning my world up because I got a new thing that happened this month. Now, I got to watch. I can't show you guys really, but some of you can barely see that, all right, what the face thing is on my phone. And that is my new grandson. My new grandson. Nothing will make you clean up your world more and faster than getting your first grandchild and having your son be a parent for the first time. Why? Because he's going to be super conscious. The first time parents are super conscious about the cleanliness of their world with their new child. That became a huge cleanup. Get organized, right? More people will not clean up and get organized than you know. They will just, they'll keep going along until something like that pops into your world. You get a new grandbaby, I guarantee you, it's going to help you clean up your world real quick. Getting into the habit, number one. Number two, all right, getting yourself cleaned up and getting yourself organized to do it. Again, the organization process doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to start building that. It takes a world of starting to build that, right? I have to learn how to little by little do things to clean up my world. Because it's not going to get cleaned overnight. Which, getting to that point helped me realize in this new house was basically, we moved up here. We did not fix it all up like we had our last condo. It was very, very nicely organized, neatly done. We finished it up. All right. It was finished and we were living in a finished product. We're not that way up here. And we can't afford to do it all at once. So we have to take it little by little, here and there, piece by piece, step by step. Do a little bit every weekend, every Saturday, we do a little bit. That's what it takes to get your life and world organized. You're going to have to do it little by little until your world starts to one day start to look good and start to clean up. All right. And eventually everything starts forming in a world that you go, oh my gosh, this is so easy. It didn't start off easy, right? You worked to make it easy, right? Having a grandson be board will help you do that. Anyway, so the last thing I want to go through on this, and I'm really going to go down step by step with this to help you do it. And then, hopefully this helps you. You're not going to be perfect when you start. So you want to do your content challenge on a short month where you know that basically you can take it one step at a time, knowing those first couple few, not many people are going to be there. But you get started. So I decided to break it down into a 28-day topic challenge. And I thought I would go through all 28 of them for you here. Spend about a minute and a half with each one to help you see a way that you can actually do it. So and unfortunately, my slideshow, I'm not able to get it up there. All right. And it will take away all my screens. All right, to be able to do that. So let me do it this way. I'm going to actually tell you the subjects and I don't know, there's not a way that I can actually convert that. And I'm thinking about it a million ways to one. But anyway, I could do it. Hold on. I know how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to put it up here as window, Chrome tab, window, entire screen. No, I'm actually getting it here, guys. All right, here it is. I found the document. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell with you guys the 28-day challenge. Number one is introduction. Your day one live video. Just do an introduction. Just tell the world who you are and why you are doing this challenge. 5 minutes. Really, we're doing this 5 minutes every day. Hi, I'm Tim Gillette, and I decided to do a 28-day challenge. Today is just me sharing with you about who I am. I'm Tim Gillette. I'm born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I'm a speaker because I got into this world because Zig Ziglar said, Tim, you should be a speaker. And I didn't believe him. So I spent 6 years researching what a speaker did before I got on stage to become a speaker. And that's when I became a speaker, when I actually got on stage. Number 2. Day number 2, talk about your mindset and goals. Maybe on day number 2, the mindset of like, here's where I was over the past couple of years, but I have a goal to complete this 28-day challenge. All right. Put it out there. This is what I'm working on, to do this 28-day challenge, because I want to become and build a habit of creating content. I'm getting warm, so I'm going to take this off. All right. It is getting a little warmer in our house nowadays here. So there. Anyway, it was a little chilly this morning. So day number 2 is that. Day number 3, habits. Tell everybody about a daily habit that you have, all right, that has helped make you successful, help build you in success in one way or another in your life. That's it. Just a simple, here's some habits. If you had my presentation, I actually did this in the presentation where I went number 4, habits, number 5, habits, number 6, habits. Oh, no, we got to go back to number 4. All right. It was about building habits. So when you do day 3, you want to talk about the idea of habits you have and habits you're trying to create. And you'll see as we get down this list why. Hold on. I'm actually going to take this and make this bigger. All right, for a reason. So I can actually, there we go. Habits. Look at this. I can actually spread these out like this. Look at all the stuff I can do to create stuff. I can take a wonderful thing like this, all right, and do this. Habits. Number 4. Manage your time. Tell them about something you do to successfully manage your time every day. I talk more and more with my clients when we have the 2-hour, like when you get into my platinum program or you get in my elite coaching program, I have a 2-hour Zoom call we do, where that 2-hour Zoom call is all about going over getting the right habits in your life to be successful. And I go over with it every time I tell them about my checklists, and I show them my checklists. All right. And I say, I am a single self-employed guy in my office, but yet I have a checklist I go by every day to make myself. That's how I manage my time. Do something like that to share how you manage your time to be and remain successful. I love this next one. Number 5, list your priorities. List your mission. Share it. Maybe you have a mission. I have a mission that drove me to what I wanted to do with being in the content creation business. And now, even with this new chat GPT, has not changed my mission at all. It may help me reach my goal faster because now I have ways to teach people how to do it faster. But my mission has always been, I am looking to create 10,000 people who are content creators, help them build an audience of 10,000 people, and then convert that into $10,000 a month in income. It's always been my mission, right? To do that. That drives me as to why I create this virtual event every month. If you have something like that you have a mission or you have something that drives you like that, this is what you do on day 5. List out those priorities. Day 6. I love day 6 because this is the one where it separates the boys from the girls. The boys from the men, I should say. Not boys from girls. No, we don't do that nowadays. We separate boys from men. We separate the starters, the amateurs from the professionals. Procrastination. Talk about how you struggled with or are still struggling with putting things off and how you overcame them. Does that sound familiar? I think I just told you that this morning about how I've been putting things off because I moved to my new house and I had to stop doing it. How did I overcome it? I went back to my checklists. Boom, right there is the 5-minute talk for today if I was doing it. Number 7, self-care. Self-care. Share a self-care tip that helped you. Now, self-care there's a lot of things in self-care that goes along with eating right, drinking enough water. All right. One of the things I do in self-care is 90% of the time when I go out, I wear a dress shirt that is a button shirt with a collar, right? Try to always have that on. Sometimes I don't, but most of the times, if I'm out in public, I wear a button shirt with a collar. Now, I may be wearing jeans, I may be wearing flip-flops, all that stuff, but I always do the dress shirt. That is something I do to take care of myself, because what that does is makes me feel better about myself. All right, over the fact that I'm presenting myself as the best possible person. That's self-care to me. Next one, number 8, stress management. How many of you have tips or things that you do to manage stress in your own world? Do you? Do you actually have something to get past the stress in your life? Yes, I have created a stress management system. I learned that I keep patient on things. All right? I don't let anything bother me that is not going to affect me 50 years from now. I just don't. Stress management, stress gone, because of the fact that I don't have to worry about it. I worry less about things that don't matter. Number 9. Day number 9, you should do exercise. Share a tip of some exercise that you do to stay healthy. I could share you this one here. I mean, if I was going to do a podcast on, a daily broadcast on, exercise, I do something for exercise that I'll bet you none of you ever thought about doing. And it's a basic way to get started in exercise. I don't care if I go to the grocery store, to the shopping mall, to church, all right, to a restaurant. I do not park up front. I don't. I park in the back and I walk. Number 1, I probably a lot more parking spots back there. Number 2, it's a distance you have to walk. All right. Just saying. That's the ways to exercise. The second thing I don't do to help to exercise is this past weekend, I was at an event. Basically, I stayed on the 12th floor, so I didn't do it there because that was a larger hotel. But if I go someplace and I'm staying at like a 3-story hotel, I take the stairs up and down. I never, ever, ever take the elevator if it's only a 2 or 3-story hotel. I take the stairs. Walk up and down the stairs all the time. That's exercise. Most people would never think to do that for exercise. Day 10, healthy eating tips. Healthy eating tips. Share how you are how you are not eating healthy and how you're going to improve that. Share something that you changed in what you eat. I have a juicer that I got for Christmas, not this past year, but at the end of 2021. And I started doing a lot of things with juicing to where I have juice, or I have fruits and vegetables every day that's put into my diet. And then I did not look into just taking drugs for things. All right. I met Dr. Fab Mancini, which, he's been on my podcast, but I've yet to get him on actually here and teach a class on here. I will someday. But eat healthy I learned to eat healthy, but then I learned to take supplements that actually help this. Throughout the pandemic, I looked at what vitamins helps my body stay pure, all right, and stay healthy and keep healthy. And it's probably why the 2 times I got COVID, I got through it real quick, all right? And it wasn't that painful for me because my body was better at taking care of its immune system because I ate healthy, number 1. Number 2, I took right supplements that would help fight those diseases if I got them. All right. Doesn't mean I'm going to avoid them. It just means I had stuff in my system by eating healthy to avoid them. Which brings me to number 11, hydration. Share how you stay hydrated or how it is important to your success. This is one that I'm horrible at, right? If I were to share a tip on this, I can share with you, hey, let me tell you how I failed today. Because I'm bad at drinking. In the summertime, I drink iced tea. In the wintertime, I drink Dr. Peppers like they're going out of style. And one of the things I do, I have water with lemon here today because of the fact that I'm doing a show and I would be on camera a lot. I kept water here to be able to hydrate myself and keep myself going. Number 12, I'm going to start to do it this way so you guys can't see what's down below. Number 12, share how you get the right amount of sleep every night. Do a broadcast on your sleep schedule. I can make mine. I can make mine simple, and I can tell you my story on every one of these that quick because of the fact I created the challenge. So maybe I know what anyway. Sleep. I actually, in our world, it's different. Gwen goes to bed about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. My mom, it's like 8 o'clock. I'm the one in the house who's up on I sit on the couch at about 9:30, 10 o'clock and relax for the evening. And I may doze off and take a nap on the couch before I go to bed, but I may not. But I usually almost always get up at 12:30 to 1 o'clock to go to bed. Now, I don't wake up in the morning until 7:45, 8 o'clock. My alarm goes off in my room with playing music, not an alarm, but starts playing music at 7:45 every morning, 7 days a week. My body is trained to get up at 7:45 every day, all right, because I've built a sleep schedule that knows this is about what time you get tired to go to bed. This is what time you get up. My sleep schedule is based on when I want to get up, not on when I want to go to bed, right? So there's times that I will be up until 1, 2, 3 in the morning because I have to get something done, but then my body is still trained to wake up because it's regular and it knows, okay, last night was a short night of sleep, but it'll change tomorrow night. Next one, productivity. Productivity tips. Share a tip that you do to keep yourself productive, right? I shared mine today with the checklist. Just share something to keep yourself productive. Day 14. All right. I'm going to do these real quick so you guys can do. So watch this. All right. Let me go back to this here. Productivity. Share a tip that what do you do to stay productive? The next one is day 14 is organization. Share what you do to organize your world. Share what you do to organize your world. My coach and mentor, as many of you know, is Craig Duswalt. All right. And Craig is probably one of the most organized people I know. This man has an organizational chart for his organizational charts. All right. It's just the way he is. And I love visiting him and seeing his organization because he'll tell you, he tells us as mastermind members, all right, he shares his tips on what he does to organize his life. And I remember, in California one time, we were done his seminar. We packed everything in his truck and he went home. And like 2 hours later, I was supposed to go up there for he was having a party at the house for us mastermind members. And I remember going up to his house 2 hours later and everything that I put in that truck, he had already had it put away. He had it put away to the place where it goes in his house. And I'm like, wow, how do you do that, man? Like I would finish my seminar and after I get done my seminars, the first 24 hours was me being lazy. This man 2 hours later has got it all put away. I never had that energy. What do I have to do to organize? Well, he shared with us how he organized it, how he does that, how he gets himself in that mood. Because he shared it with us, the mastermind, it made me do a retrospect look, all right, and go, how can I use what he did to organize myself and get organized better? Number 15, manage distractions. Share a post about how you manage distractions in your world. I have a ton of distractions and I could do a 50-minute speech on this subject alone. I get so distracted so often because my brain starts down a path and I'll start talking. And while I'm going down that path, I totally forget where I started from. How do I manage it? I actually have something like this document up all the time when I'm doing something, because of the fact that if I don't have something to keep me on track. Leisa Reid was here earlier, all right, and I was actually sharing with Leisa, and as I started to share something with Leisa, an idea came up in my head about how to help you guys with that very subject. So I went down that road to helping you, and then totally realized I have to make this circle back to what Leisa was talking about. Otherwise, this is just him talking. So in my mind, because I'm staring at Leisa and I'm staring at her notes, and I clicked in my mind by keeping those notes there. And in my mind went, keep on track, subject on track, subject on track. Do things like that by keeping reminders in front of you to manage the distractions. Again, I could do a 30-minute speech on that one. Planning. Share how you plan for your month, your week, and your day. Again, another one that I can do great things on. To-do list. I used to do the to-do list and I used to do it. I still have some of these left. I used to do to-do list and daily goals, and I used to use these right here. And I would write, if I had a process or daily goals, I would write the big day goal here on the back. And then there are exactly, I think, 10 lines on this page. Is there? I count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're exactly 10. Exactly. So I would put 10 steps that I wanted to get done, and I would carry this every day. And here's what I would do. At the day, I would take and cross off when I was done with it. The next day, I would take a new one out and write the objection here, write the breakdown here. Again, I would handwrite it every day. Then I would shred this one because it's done and move on. Planning out, another one that I see to plan out is, so I have this notebook here that has my notes. So basically this will have notes from today. I'll draw a line and do it. But I see my coach, Craig, I started to do it this way last year, where I was writing my to-do list and seeing what I can cross off, that I can plan it. But I went back to my way of doing things on planning. Networking. Number 17, networking. Share how you are building your network and connecting with new people. This is one of those ones where you can do a broadcast going with someone at a meeting. You can do a joint broadcast. Now, I've done the joint broadcast when I want to talk about something like networking. I always love it. This is the easiest one on the 28 days of list, because networking. Here's what I can do. I met this girl. Oh gosh, forgive me. I forget her name. I met her in California last year, 2 years ago. 2020, I met her, and I want to say her name was Michelle. But anyway, I'm going to go back and see if I can't find her real quick. Anyway, I believe her name was Michelle. I could be wrong. And I'm at this function that I thought, man, she has a great message. So I reached out to her and said, hey, Michelle, I'm doing these daily broadcasts. Would you be interested in being on one? And I literally grabbed my phone. We set it up like this. We knew exactly where the camera was. All right. And I just held it out like this. And we did the broadcast, just the two of us, just sitting there talking to the camera. And I said, hey, guys, I want to introduce you to my friend Michelle. All right. I just met her at this function. All right. And this is how we met. And this is what we're talking about. That's all I did. Recorded it right there on the spot. Easiest one to do. Hey, guys, I go out to events and build relationships with people all the time, just like this. Here, today I'm meeting so-and-so right here. Network. Number 18, day 18. Creative problem solving. Share a tip on how you solve a problem. You know, this is the number one thing that people are looking for on the internet. How to solve problems. It is. The reason everybody goes to Google is they're trying to solve a problem. I am looking for how to solve this problem. That's what they're typing into Google. So typing into Bing, what they're typing into all of these things. All right. I want to solve this problem. Whatever it is that you can solve, share it in a tip. This could be your most watched video. Most people never know that. They don't think about it. They don't realize the whole world's trying to figure out how to solve a problem. Tell them how you solve problems. Watch. Takes me back to, I remember in the 1990s when I first got into the self-help world. All right, I was in this network marketing, multi-level marketing company that had cassette tapes they would send out every either week or month. You got so many cassette tapes to listen to. And I literally would get the cassette tape and I would wear it out before the next month. All right. And I remember having this cassette tapes. I remember taking my car, as Zig Ziglar would term it, and turning into a university on wheels. And I would plug those cassette tapes in. And one of them that I listened to probably 1,000,000 times was Robert Schuller, the guy who created the Crystal Cathedral in California. Now, I don't think that church is even there anymore. I think the building is doing something else. But still, I remember him getting on there. All right. And I know he wrote a book before that. And he talked about his process, solving problems. And he talked about the very thing. And he said, well, you know what I mean? Every time I would ever get down and out, I would go into my office. I would lock the door. I would open the bottom drawer of my desk. I would pull my book out. Read the section in my book where it says, if you've got a problem, all right, go in here, all right, and do this. His thing was, he was a Christian faith, so he got down on his knees and he would pray and he said, God, I need this. Get up off his knees. He would take a tablet with paper and he would write 1 to 10 and he would write 10 ways on how to get it. And I remember it because this is the greatest joke in the world. He said was, I found this building that I wanted to build this building. All right. The architect. And he said how much it would cost him. He said it was going to cost $7 million. So I did the whole practice. I get up off my knees and I write, number 1, get one person to give me $7 million. He said, God has a sense of humor. Problem solving. The point is every time he did it, ladies and gentlemen, he would do that. He would go down to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And he shared that when he was trying to raise that money, the very last thing was sell each pane of glass in the building for $1,000 a piece and get people to donate $1,000 to help build the building. And he said sometimes it was number 10, but that was his creative problem solving way. He had it down in the book, and I listened to that tape so many times, I probably could quote him doing it because I listened to it over and over again because I wanted to become a creative problem solver. Do that, ladies and gentlemen. Number 19, collaboration. This is a fun one. This would be a fun day's broadcast, all right? Share some projects you are working on with others or would like others to work on with you. You know, there's nothing wrong with saying, I want to write a book and I just can't write it all. So you know what I'm going to do? The first 10 people who reach out to me, we're going to write a book together. So reach out to me today and we'll write a book together and we'll get it published together and we'll all talk about this and make this happen. And you can tell them that and make the whole process about collaboration. Some of you know in my world, all right, her name's Coach Jenny. Coach Jenny, I thought it was the most unique thing she ever did when she wrote her book. She decided to collaborate with her community to write that book. What she did was she used a live stream broadcast and she would basically, this is the topic we're talking about today. And it was a chapter in her book. And she would get everybody in and she would ask a certain set of questions. Everybody had to answer. All right. And she put all that feedback together and collaborated with a bunch of us about writing her book. I thought it was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen done using content creation because that was a collaboration project that it is now her book. But she led the charge on collaborating with people like you and me to actually get the solutions to the problems she needed. Collaboration. Share how a project that you're working on with others. I collaborate every month by bringing in 4 speakers All I got to do is find 4 every month. 4 speakers, 4 30-minute slots, and I share my slot. I get a speaking slot every month by finding 4 other speakers to collaborate with them. All right, share their message out, and all of them are great at wanting to do it. One of the people that I'm sure she's popped in sometime today. I'm not sure if she has or hasn't by now, but she said she was going to, is Dr. Patricia Rogers. She posts events, and I said, oh, I do this event every month. Oh, great. I'm going to check it out because I want her to come speak. First thing she said is, well, if I'm speaking at yours, you're speaking at mine. That's collaboration. Most people, like Lisa coming in here today, hey, I want to get a speaking gig. Great. Do you host your own events? Host your own events. It'll get you speaking careers like you want, like you wouldn't believe. I hosted a podcast, interviewed well over 1,000 people over the past 10 years, which put me, I didn't get on 1,000 other podcasts, but I got on an awful lot of them because I had my own podcast. It's just a way to do it. So decision making. Ooh, this one here could be tough for some of y'all because you can't decide what you're going to do. Maybe give some tips on what you're going to do to actually learn to make decisions faster. Just saying. Maybe come on there and say, I've had a problem with making decisions lately. But I decided that I'm going to actually write out a process today and I'm going to start following it. Maybe you could hold me accountable. That will be a great, great broadcast. If you get out there and share, this is a challenge I have faced. This is what I'm doing to fix it. Number 3, would you want to join me on this process? Just saying. Great, great broadcast right there. Number 21, leadership. Leadership. Share how you see leadership in someone and how they helped you. Oh, I could do one of these every week on leadership and how someone has inspired me with their leadership and how they helped me. I share Larry Broughton all the time, Craig Duswall, James Malinchek, Bill Wallace here in Dallas. I'm trying to think. Scott Schilling, Leisa Reid, Eric Lofholm. All right. All of these people have shown me such leadership, right? Down to, all right, Robert Brooker has showed me leadership in the fact that Robert comes in and he is actively part of as many things as he can to learn. All right. And he inspires me to be a better leader, but he shows me how he leads, all right, by being a part and engaged in many different conversations around the internet, all right, and then sharing them with his audience. I love that. That's leadership. What I mean, sharing with leadership. Oh. All right, and I just finally got a text here. Watch it. It'll show up now. Okay. So let me move on to this one. Leadership number 2. Number 2, I have leadership number 2. Share how you became a leader and helped someone else with your leadership. Share how you became a leader. Maybe how you screwed up, but then you found out by someone else that they were admiring you through your process. I love Larry Broughton. Larry Broughton, I don't think Larry ever knows that this really inspired me to want to want to lead others. Was Larry Broughton gave me a word of encouragement when I felt down. All right. And then said how it inspired him that even though I was down, I kept going. Exactly that. Leadership. Leadership is me just not showing people by example how to do things right. So, number 23. personal finances. Share a tip on how to get personal finances in order. Hey, that is going to be something that a lot of people are going to Google. They're going to Google, all right, about how to fix their personal finances. And if you share just tips, you don't have to tell them, hey, I'm your financial advisor, but you share, this is how I got out of by setting up a budget. This is how I got out of by investing in things. This is how I got out of by working on things. Personal finance is an area that a lot of people are going to struggle with, and you need to just share your story. I do remember years and years ago, I remember when the guy who bought in the 1990s, he bought the Orlando Magics, and he was sharing how in personal finances, he invited all the players over to his house, and he sat down with them and he says, you guys got big salaries out there. Let me share with you guys how to be responsible for those salaries and carry on to the next generation, carry on your wealth past that. And I know one of the first people that he got on that team in the early days was Shaq. And we all know who Shaq is now. And I'm betting Shaq learned something in finances back then that made him the business mogul he is today. Right? Number 24, career development. Career development. Share how you find your path in your career and how you're working to develop it. Every one of us, no matter what the career is you're in, all right, you've got a path that you're learning. You have a place that you are actually going. You have destination, all right. There's ways that you develop and ways that you don't, and you learn the process one step at a time. And I would share a message on like Tim's 6 things to career development, and I would talk about it. Number 25, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not just, I'm an entrepreneur and I run this business and I built a business from the ground up and me. Entrepreneurship could be as easy as solving a problem in your office where you work for a large corporation and you just one little step you're doing to solve problems. That one little process you share. Me, I shared with you earlier today about how I help people at Starbucks overcome something because of what I learned. That was entrepreneurship. Creatively finding ways to solve problems. Technology and digital tools. Share a technology or digital tool you know about. Man, there are a ton of them opening up. Chat GPT, you could share about that and what you do. Just pull it up on a screen and do it. Right? Learning and growth. Share how you have grown since you started this challenge. That's the tricky part as we get down to the end of it. Hey, 28 days or 27 days ago, I started this challenge, and this is what I was going to do, and here's what I've grown because I did it. Which takes us to the last one, number 28. Share a new goal that you have now that you have finished this challenge and completed a goal. You see, the goal process stops one place, moves on, and goes forward to the next one. I'm actually going to see if I can get into this chat. I can't. No. Oh, there it is right there. But anyway, the whole process behind this, and hold on, I'm actually going to stop this share because I'm going to go back into me being on the screen while I'm trying to do 2 other things and talk to you at the same time because our next speaker is not in the chat room either. I always love it when they don't. All right. And I'm having to pull up all kinds of stuff in the meantime. You have to be able to create a challenge, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be able to think on your feet like I'm trying to do right now. Think on your feet and be able to do things. And by creating the challenge, you will learn to think faster. By creating content on a regular basis, you're going to learn how to think faster, learn how to get people into your systems, all right, into how you want to help them, or how you find the people you're supposed to help. That is the key, all right, is getting out there and finding the people. And finding the people, all right, that you need to help. That's what most people won't do, is they won't get started to find out who they are supposed to help, right? And you only can do that is if you actually start getting a message out there. My first message, getting out there, my first message was, so you know, it was not like, you know, this perfect thing on Simple Easy Marketing. No, I just started sharing, and I called myself the Rocker Life Coach. Interesting, funny name at the time, right? But I started sharing things, and it wasn't until I was out sharing things on a regular basis that I found what my audience wanted to hear. We started, again, as I'll recap for you real quick. We started in 2010. By 2011, I was doing consistently. At the end of 2012, into the beginning of 2013, I actually, no, it wasn't, no, it was in 2012. No, at the end of 2011, into 2012, I actually wrote a blog post about a song that inspired me. A rock and roll song that inspired me. The song was called Jukebox Hero. And I never thought that, you know, it was anything. I just like, well, this is today's blog post. This is what I'm writing about. I put up that blog post, and I remember the day before, 35 people looked at my blog that day. The day I put up the blog post, Jukebox Hero, 7,700 people showed up to read my blog post. That's quite a jump, which made me then look at how many people would look at my blogs over the next couple of days where I'm writing about songs, and realized, my audience wants to hear inspirational songs, inspirational stories about songs that inspire me. And I actually think I put out an ebook at the end of the year of like the top 20 songs that inspired me or something. All right. I called it like music that inspired, or songs that inspired, or something like that. And it was an entire ebook. All right. I wrote based on, it was all blog posts. And almost all those blog posts are still in my blog somewhere. If you go to rockerlifecoach.com or timgillette.com and you look through the blog articles, you can find them. They're all way back, 10 years ago now. All right. But that was what my audience wanted to hear. If I didn't get started writing, I never would have found out that my audience wanted that. Never. No. Anyway. So my next speaker is not here. Again, 2 speakers not showing today. Isn't it great how you learn that, you know, no matter how many times you communicate, things still get lost? Anyway, I'm going to go on here into Facebook real quick, and I'm going to go over here and see if I can't get a hold of this guy. All right. Always love it when you actually have to keep going. You're the one on stage and your person doesn't show up to speak. Anyway, gotta love the challenges life throws at you every chance you get. Anyway, so today, all right, we've learned quite a bit. I personally have gone down. I actually have a whole nother list of checklists over here that I want to go and fix. All right, because of the fact that I learned certain things aren't working. And because certain things aren't working, I have to go in and put double checks to make it work, to fix it later. I wrote notes down when Leisa was up here speaking, and I wrote notes down when Scott was up here speaking. All right. And while they were doing that, I also learned, that what I do, all right, what works and doesn't work. I learned that by today's processes, and I keep notes onto it. I hope today you kept notes. I hope today you learned something. I hope you learned that, a speaking career is it could be for you. All right. Connect with Leisa. All right. If that's the case, getting more leads. All right. Scott, connect with Scott. Scott has a great system out there for actually doing broadcasts now. And it's something he's helping people with on a regular basis. All right. I've helped you with giving you a challenge. One challenge will actually make your world move forward, all right, and help you maybe find the niche or the ways that you're actually going to help people. So anyway, so we go back here and throw some of the comments up here, see some of the people who've actually put some things in here. All right. Yeah, Robert. All right. You know what I mean. So Facebook user, for my first tapes were my Mary Kay Cosmetics sales tapes. Like gold. I learned so much. Facebook user, all right. I think there's a thing on there. It should tell you how to get, so we find out who you are. All right. It would be good. All right. And I think it's actually in the broadcast thing there. But I'd love to find out who that is. All right. And I assume it's the same person. Larry Broughton is a great leader. I love Larry Broughton. So you guys know, he has been on one of my virtuals. Maybe we need to get him back again. He's a great speaker, a great teacher, a great motivator. He's someone who always has kept me inspired no matter what he's gone through. Yes, that was a jump going from 35 to 70 to 100. I think that's what you meant, Robert. Yep. Luana, mastermind member, my mastermind and platinum inner circle member, Luana Parker, all right, who has spoken here on a regular basis. Thank you, Luana. I'm hoping I'm doing a job. You are doing an amazing job balancing so many tasks today. Yes, that is part of when you host a virtual event like this, is all of the things that take to run it are all me. And I'm the one to be on screen. So the neat things is I try to get all of the things that I have to do done while some other speakers are up, so that hopefully when I'm up here, there's no worries and everything plops into place. Today, it just didn't happen that way, which means that it's always room for improvement. All right. Over the years, you've got to learn to fix things and make things better, and then for the next one, which is what we're going to do. We'll make things better for the next one, and we will improve. So, all right, and now the someone's communicating with me that they anyway. All right. But anyway, life is just going to throw you challenges. All right. You've got to find a way to challenge yourself to be better so that you can improve. I learned that, boy, I am not very communicative. Apparently, I need to refine my task even more. All right. Because a lot of things just didn't flow through on this month's event like it should have. And it just didn't like it did in the past. When I started these in 2020, I had a really cool system. It was working great. All right. I learned to build a system out of, and over the years, it got good, then it got bad, then it got good, then it got bad. You know what I mean? The system got easier, then you know what I mean, and it's an ups and downs. So as it gets easier, you can, all right, get caught up in the comfortableness of it and cause some slack, which which you can slack off, all right, and do things that cause you to slip down. But then that causes you to refine your process, make it better, and come back and do it better the next time. This is now February of 2023. We started doing these in March or April of 2020 during the pandemic, and we've been doing pretty much every month. 2022, we had like 5 of them we didn't do just because of crap that I was going through. But I said we were on 2023. We were going back to doing them, and we moved them to Tuesdays. We started out doing them on Saturdays. During the pandemic, that was great because we were all home anyway. As things opened up, Saturdays didn't work so well because that was the one day I had off. Saturday and Sunday I had off from my business. And now I took my one day off and made myself work once a month. And then, you know what I mean? We moved it to Fridays in 2021. We moved it to Fridays and late 2021 into 2022, we moved into Fridays. And that became a conflict with certain things because Fridays, right, my schedule changed during 2022 to where every third Friday, when I was trying to do these, the third Friday, I had an event that I had to go to here in town that happened every month. And next was I was always dealing around people doing now live events again. And that 2020, that Friday thing was really a hassle because that's when a lot of your bigger events were happening. So it's like, how do I get around that? And I made it down to Tuesdays. So I do on Tuesdays, first Tuesday, I have nothing. It's my one Tuesday off. Second Tuesday, I have a local Dallas meetup. So last Tuesday, I had a local in-town meetup where at 6 p.m. here in the Dallas area. I do a training for people if they show up live, and we do it. We have pizza and drinks and just do some training. The third Tuesday is now, the virtual event summit. We're trying to work on fourth Tuesdays being our masterclass. So it's like all of it is on a Tuesday, and all of them are smaller bits of time. So this event is designed to start at 11 a.m. and then end, at around 2 to 3 p.m. every Tuesday. So it's not a full day. I used to start them at 10 a.m., but a lot of my speakers were coming out of California, and 10 a.m. is like just after 8 a.m. for them. All right. And a lot of people a lot of my audience then too is towards the West Coast. They weren't able to attend this. But in going with our theme that we had on challenges, I set the challenge on this, ladies and gentlemen, in my own life to actually challenge myself to do something. And when the pandemic hit, I challenged myself to put on a monthly event every month. And I know other people who the people inspired me to do it, right? They have since gone, okay, they moved their business back and they went back to doing something else. I kept going, and I kept going, challenging to do this every month, no matter what. I'm going to do a virtual event every month, no matter what. And I'm working every month to bring the greatest of people in here, the greatest of speakers, the greatest teachers, all so you can join this. And we don't do this as a sell a ticket every month. No, this is a membership. You join one time and you get all of them. And that's what we wanted to do, which we get to bring in some of the greatest people that way. And there's no pressure on going, how do I sell tickets? No, I already have 250 people who are going to watch this, so it's not a hard on me. Well, it looks like we have a special person that I want to bring on screen right now. Hi, Tricia.
Hi, how are you, Tim?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. There you are. So
wonderful.
All right. Are you in the office? Are you?
Do you know? So I'm in the offices of Americanos. So if you hear different languages, you'll know why. It's wonderful to be here in Miami rather than up in the more northern regions of the country where it's quite a bit colder and a fair amount of snow in different places across the country, I think.
Wow. Well, it's warm in Dallas right now, so you're not here.
No. I'll be back again soon, though. I'm an honorary citizen. I've got to get my feet on the ground as regularly as possible.
Yeah. So, and I was actually trying to pull up something. All right, to send to. Oh wait, no, that's not the one. This is the one I want. Copy. All right. So, and here's, I was explaining to everybody how I was having to actually do all this stuff. All right. And I had, you didn't get the communication this morning, and another speaker didn't get it. And I still get to hear back from them. So, you
Oh,
gotta,
you know, you got to keep things exciting around here, Tim. I think, you know, I mean, how else would life be lived?
yeah. Anyway. Yeah, it goes to show though that's what I was sharing at the end here, is how I actually use this in life to challenge myself. You know what I mean? You know, I think I told this with you. I always have a notepad of what I've got to improve or fix. So, yeah, so I've always got a notepad of things I've got to fix. And even Scott Schilling spoke this morning, and he was giving me a list of things to share or to fix. So anyway,
love it. You know, Jeffrey Hazlett's my business partner, the chairman and founder of C-Suite Network, and he frequently says, "Listen, we're going to take an action. Now, if it doesn't go according to plan, is anyone going to die?" Literally no one. So we're good. You know, we're good. We're making great things happen, and there's nothing pretty about that most of the time in business. So it's true in anything. It's true in anything you do at excellence, right? You got to go through the aches and pains first.
Well, I mean, you know, you inspired me with, you know, with your Friday thing. All right, even through the pandemic, while we were trying to do this, your Friday thing, which I'm sure you can share with the people here. But
I would love to.
And I, you know, we can finish up however you want now, because you're the last person I'm going to have as a speaker. We could talk, or you could share if you've got a message. You tell me how you want to do it, because this, I know this threw your schedule off as well. So,
well, I am so happy to share, Tim. And you and we met in Dallas, and it was sort of one of those things of, what are we meeting about? You know, and then we had this incredible conversation. And to me, that's everything. So I have some content that I thought would be really meaningful from a content marketing perspective.
mm-hmm.
And so I'm not giving you, you know, I didn't, you know, take a canned presentation and say, okay, here we go. I really wanted to focus in on the content leader's role, and what we're seeing in C-Suite Network, certainly how we're using it. So I have a little bit of a case study. I just have some stuff to have a great conversation around. I could share a couple slides, but I'm more than happy to just kind of jump into some of the thinking and go back and forth on what is really truly a critically important conversation in terms of the success of any organization, let alone any business in today's environment.
Okay. Well, you know, I would love your input on content creation, especially since everybody else in content creation changed their subject this month to AI.
You know, oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, you just can't avoid it right now. It's the latest toy.
Anyway.
You're right. It's the latest toy, and wow, you know, lots and lots of fun. But at the end of the day, it's still about the strategy. It's still about that higher level conversation of how we're pushing forward, and the application of the knowledge that we have that's most critical. And so I'm a fan of the new toy, no doubt. You've got to be using the new toys and getting yourself further faster. That's the whole name of the game in the digital and virtual world we now, you know, and hybrid world that we now live in.
Yeah. So, and I'm curious, through the pandemic, how many C-Suite went all virtual during the pandemic as well, correct?
Absolutely. March 13th, 2020. I literally did the escape from, where was I? Orlando, back to home, because I sounded like death warmed over and the world was shutting down, and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I literally packed in 5 minutes, got an early, you know, the earliest flight, which was a ridiculously close time to the time I called, got home, and March 16th marked, you know, moving from 120 in-person events a year to 0, and celebrates that you attended, which what I would love for your community to join us. If you go to C-Suite Network, C-Suite Network, SUITE network.com, you'll see the events button and just register for Celebrates as my guest and Tim's guest. We started that it was the second or third week of April. So we've done 138 episodes of Celebrates, and it's evolved. I mean, it was the only way everybody could get together, and we were sharing and and really truly just pushing the pause button to say, we're going to celebrate the great things. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that's difficult right now, a lot of stuff, but isn't that business, right? There are a lot of things that are difficult, and there are days that take a lot more out of us than other days. I've certainly made my children well aware of the Holy Grail and the mere flesh wound sort of scenario. You've got to laugh and joke about that and pick yourself up and keep moving. So anyway, that was our permission to push pause, celebrate the great things, and be there with a shoulder in our community to support, and certainly share and learn together and connect. And now that we're into 3 years, now it's my time for, certainly all of that. The community to come together, connect, meet each other. Our members host, guests on Friday nights. But I'm also just absolutely delighted to be using it as an opportunity.
Oh, I think we lost her on sound vibes, but she'll come back here. You there? We've had a few of these today. Uh-oh, we lost her microphone. I'm making sure I didn't lose my sound here because I have had that where I've gone deaf before. And anyway, this is I'm actually going to put in the chat, guys, while she's coming back online. All right, her wonderful assistant Kira just sent me a link to the Celebrate, so you guys can join in on that. So, in the meantime, we'll see. Yes, there you are.
There we go. Okay. Nothing like modern technology. Anyway, so now on Friday nights, I have a special guest in to surprise and delight. In addition to the connecting time, lots of great networking and connection, and celebrating all the great things of the week. And so that's been just so much fun, and it's delightful because everyone in the C-suite network is at this level in terms of business. And or working their way to that level, certainly, and then some of us have a great deal of fame associated with that excellence in business, and some of us have none, and everything in between. So I never quite know who will geek out and when they will geek out, depending on who the special guest is. But last week I had Prince Ford, and I had one of my leaders who is absolutely phenomenal, literally smiling from ear to ear and talking faster than I've ever heard her speak. And she introduced her husband as a musician, and didn't speak to the fact that she's an incredible designer. And so I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to help you out here. This woman is unbelievable. She's a fashion designer, is just remarkable. So you probably want to talk to her about that. Anyway, it's and I've had on some of our CEOs who've just done absolutely incredible things in science and technology, bringing their businesses public, and so on. And then and we have another CEO in our Hero Club who sold their business for several hundred million, and then still owns 50% of the business, sold over 500 million in product last year, just doing incredible things and incredibly human, in terms of the business creating the kind of success and impact they want to be able to see in the communities that they serve. And so anyway, it's been just, I can't help smiling, Tim, and I'm so thrilled that you've come and enjoyed it, because it really is, those things you get to do for people where you just feel like it's just such a gift and such an honor that you get to give it.
Yeah. You mean like me taking you out to dinner? I felt like that was such an honor.
It was so wonderful. I went back there. I was there with Scott Schilling.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. I was supposed to meet him in a hotel lobby, and I said, would you mind meeting over? It's Kenny's, right? Is it Kenny's?
Kenny's, yeah.
Yes. There we go. That we get a good plug in for Kenny's because I know you're friends with him, and it's a wonderful place to be. So anyway, French onion soup, gotta try that.
I just remember it was for me, it was like I came down there and like my biggest thing, like as far as I have to drive back home, was like, oh crap, I don't want to drive home in traffic now. Let's continue this conversation. How about we go to dinner? Like, I'm like, but whenever I have a good meeting and it carries on like that, it's one of the things I love about being the last meeting of the day too, by the way,
Yes.
because you can carry them on.
Yes.
And make them go longer. And I love that it happened with you. And I count that whole day as a blessing, especially when I got in my car late to go down there because I didn't know where I was going before.
Yes, it really was, Tim. Thank you so much. You know, that blessing of real conversation, real connection, having the grace of a little bit of time together, and and it was just so delightful because right from the very first moment together, you shared, you know, just absolutely as transparently as you possibly could, you know, and it was like, okay, we're going to have a real conversation. And
Well, no.
clearly,
You can wait a minute. You can say on my show the words we said we were going to say. I know I would not say that on your call because I was like, wait a minute. I don't know her rules, but on my show, they're used to me talking that way.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the real words were, Tim was like, basically, what the fuck am I doing here? That's the way we started the conversation. There, is that good, Tim?
Yeah.
That's full transparency.
Because she said, you know, Tricia said, I'm dropping off her hotel. She says, this is how I'm going to explain our first meeting from now to eternity.
It's true. But you know, oh, I love that. That we talk about, you know, radical transparency. When you're real, you can do something valuable, you know, and that's one of the things that I really love speaking to is, look, it's risky, but anything with impact is risky, you know. So yes, you have to take calculated risk, no question, but what an incredible opportunity we have being in the roles that we're in. And content, to me, is so powerful. You know, the shift that we've had from this is content, which was very limited, you know, print, radio, TV. And now, you know, content is anything you can take a picture of or write about. And when you open up that gamut, your ability to create real connection, that opportunity to have real impact is extraordinary. And that's something where when you have that gift and you have all of those tools in front of you to be able to lever, you have tremendous opportunity to have great impact.
Now, you know, I know you've been more in the speaking realms, all right, for years. So you're not afraid to get on stage. It's kind of like Zig said, I never was, but I do have that fear. It's just I hide it well. But getting on camera,
I'm very well, by the way. Okay.
getting on camera. All right. I remember the first times I got on a live broadcast on camera. All right. And I was fearful. All right. Truthfully is yeah, I have to do stuff to calm myself down in the first few minutes of a broadcast. It's just the way I am. But getting on camera is now, Scott mentioned this morning, is this is a permanent way of life for content, video. You've got to be able to get on camera. How are you feeling about this, or how have you seen the process of getting on camera over the years?
It's really, so I agree entirely. And I think I felt kind of frustrated with the whole notion of, you know, why should I have to be on camera all the time? And I really did, because the fact of the matter is we're on display 24 hours a day. It's just that now it's through a lens as opposed to just the people that are in this office. And so I think there's part of it that is just getting used to it, and then there's part of it that is accepting and embracing that we are real human beings that are connecting. I was on a call this morning, and it was so unusual for me. 3 people didn't have their video on, and it was just absolutely bizarre. And there's a culture there of you don't have to turn your video on. Whereas to me, it's like, I want to look in your eyes, like Tim, imagine if we sat in that bar together and we just closed our eyes, and
Yeah.
it's just, it's a horrible experience. Yeah. So I'm really blessed that that's so unusual. And C-Suite Network, I know you've seen on Fridays, the only time that people have their video off is typically that they're in a car driving, so they don't want to make everyone sick or themselves distracted, or they're in a hospital or something like that, or somewhere where they don't want to miss. But it would maybe be comfortable to turn the video on for pretty serious reasons. So I think it's one of those things where you need to figure out what works for you, but on the other hand, we're all just humans. It's just a different interface. Yeah.
So I actually have a and she may still be in the audience, but one of my mastermind members, when she first came to one of my first blog and video cons, she drove. Number one, she doesn't fly. She drove from Sacramento, California to Dallas, Texas, and then said, well, how do I get started on the way back home? And we told her to take her phone and point it at something. So this camera is the one looking at her, and talk to it and do her broadcast that way. She started that. Within 2 years, she now speaks like 40 times a year virtually on camera. Yeah. This woman was scared to death to be on camera and now speaks everywhere. And we just got her started. And I had another mastermind member join just this year. Same thing. I don't want to be on camera. How do I do this? And I'm like, yeah.
It's a tremendous gift to do that, Tim. And with speaking, the thing, there are a couple things that I think are so important. There's nothing like practice. So speaking, all different scenarios, different opportunities. Every room is different. Every audience is different. Another thing is, some people will say, we've all heard that example of imagine everybody naked. And for me, that would be way too much information. I don't go there at all. That would be far too distracting and inappropriate in my head. Where I go to is, if somebody's sitting and listening to me, they're wanting value. They're wanting me to excel and exceed their expectations and enjoy that time, and in business, I think frequently we get into this notion of, I'm going to, get this and get that and get this, and I got my 3 points in, and there you go. And it's really not about that. You want to get those 3 points across, but you want to enjoy your time. You want to have it applicable, that you can be playing with it in your mind, that you can apply it, that you can have that that enjoyment, that it's not all just misery and being a doer. You want to dream, you want to think, you want to play, you want to have fun, and that makes the learning process so much more enjoyable. So I think to those things, because for me, then it becomes all about service. How do I create value out of experience that I have, or a story that I can share, or something that I've seen as I've worked with different executives, owners, investors, influencers over the years, that is something that can be taken away. If you think about it, Tim, if you spend any amount of time and you learn, 1 or 2 things that are applicable for you, or make you remember something that you'd forgotten in your processes or your thinking or your doing, it's worth the time, so I like to think about it that way. It puts you in a servant mentality, as opposed to, look at me, I've got something important to say.
Yeah, I've always been the opposite. I'm always, and you'll laugh when I say this.
Yeah.
When I noticed my audience wanted to see me on camera, all right, and I had the long hair and everything back then. I always go like, what did you want? What is so good looking about this? Why can't I just put the PowerPoint up and you not see my face? I didn't get it, My radio show was not as popular as my video podcasts were. I don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I really do get it. It's that engagement. It's the fact that when you tell that story, I can see your hands go up and the delight, and the twinkle in your eye, and like, you're sharing something that you're connecting with, and that's a gift to give other people, because, there's enough that we can take seriously, right? It's like you don't need an enemy inside. There's plenty of things to pick as
Yeah,
enemies outside.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but you know what I mean. It's also the what does it say? I know you live in Pennsylvania, but like the the art of the Pennsylvania Italians, we talk with our hands. No,
Yes. It is so true. Oh my goodness. I literally, um you were saying about people wanting to see you on video. I've had people tell me they guess what color my nail polish is, and you can imagine, like what color will it be this week? And it's because I talk constantly with my hands. It's painfully obvious what color my nails are. Anyway, but it makes it so that people can connect with you and understand you and where you're coming from and what you're trying to deliver.
yeah. Now, one of the things that I mean, you brought up earlier about seeing the eyes.
Hmm.
I had a thing for my virtual speakers. Now, I've had people. I've made 4 bad decisions on speakers over the years of putting on events. 4 bad.
Hmm.
But I put one thing in line that took $1 billion speaker who I would not put on my stages because they refused to do this. Was I want a one-on-one meeting with people before I put them on my stage. Uh,
Mhm.
and like for the virtuals, I was doing my old podcast. I was interviewing people so that I could catch them off guard and ask them questions. But now I have it like before I'll put them on stage. I want a one-on-one meeting where I can look you in the eye on virtually. In your case, you and I sat face to face, and I think we
Mhm.
were probably an hour into the discussion. I said, I want you to speak at my events
Yeah.
because it's the eye to eye. I can watch a lot in that eyes.
Mhm.
And do you get that too? The eye to eye very much helps me read. I don't want to say read the soul, but read the soul. Yeah.
A 1,000%, Tim. It really does. And how a person looks you in the eye is really critical. And I know there are different cultural issues and different challenges in terms of the interpretations and so on. But for me, intention is critically important.
Mhm.
Intention is critically important. And that's something that is very difficult to read from a voice, and much easier to read with eyes and body language. And then, be able to work with that. I'll take intention over proficiency uh, in most cases.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple of exceptions,
Yeah.
like
But
my
no,
surgeon.
I actually, Tricia, and I mean, I'm not going to tell you, I mean, it's got to be almost 10 years ago. I had a
Mhm.
lady who she's $1 billion business, right? And
Yeah,
refused to have a one-on-one with me. I don't do that. I only speak on stages. And I'm like, you're not getting on my stage. Sorry.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I hated that. I mean, I felt bad because everybody adored this person, but I'm like, I'm sorry. I've been screwed a time or two. I'm not putting someone on my stage that I haven't first read them for a while. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, and that's the promise that you make to your communities and the people in your masterminds, Tim, where what you're delivering, and that is so important, and the trust in terms of what you're putting forward with people. And I'm very mindful to that myself with all of C-Suite Network, what we have and who we serve, and you and I had a good laugh over this too, and total alignment, which is, thank you, thank you, thank you, but we don't serve assholes here. And if you would like to go elsewhere, you're more than welcome. And we wish you
Let
very
me
best
show
of luck.
you the door.
Yeah. And that's really important because there's so much that is geared to take advantage of business decision makers and influencers rather than to truly serve. And good business is truly about how we serve and have great impact with our success. Otherwise, at the end of the day, what you end up with a very, very vacuous sort of, uh, I'll put in parentheses, or in quotations, win, which is just toys and more zeros. And there's not a whole lot that's fulfilling in that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
in and of itself, right? There's a lot you can do with it, but
yeah.
in and of itself, it's about as empty as it gets.
And yes, I've done a lot of empty things over my life that just, you know what I mean? Yes, it seems like the world told me I was driving for it, and I'm not anymore. I want fulfillment and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fulfillment, connection, meaning, purpose, and impact. These are real success.
You know, I'm just curious. All right, you know, I mean, I want to wind this thing down, but before we go, is there one tip that you would give to this audience? I mean, a lot of people here are content creators in the new. Some of them, you know what I mean, speakers just starting out. In some cases, they're very experienced speakers. What words of advice would you give to them if you had to sit there and go, let me mentally see what God says to tell you?
Well, first and foremost, I'd say define success for yourself. That's absolutely critical. I've got my book is coming out this year, podcast, TV show. It's all about what real success is. And I know for sure if you are letting someone else define what success is for you, then you are not only already failing, you will continue to. So that I absolutely know. So what does success look like to you? And then what is that mission that you're delivering on that means that those you serve succeed with you? That's absolutely critical. That starts to fill that circle. And then who's by your side? So who is your team? And I think this is one of the most important things to think about, because we frequently give ourselves the excuse, and Keith Ferrazzi has done some great writing on this, but we give ourselves the excuse, well, I'm not the senior person, well, I'm not the CEO, I'm, whatever, I'm the most junior person on the team. Well, guess what? You're still picking your team, you're picking who's by your side, you're picking what success looks like for you and how you're going to drive impact. And that comes from every single position within the entire organization or anyone on a particular mission. And you need to think about your team, not just as people who report through you, not just people in your company or your group, then your company, but also those wider communities that are there to support and would have no hesitation to. And so I think that empowering ourselves in terms of how we enable that success and build our teams throughout our lives and our career is really, really important. And I will say one fun thing. Do you want me to, I could swear one more time, Tim, just for fun.
You're allowed. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I won't. It seems a little harsh, but anyway, I really, really, really dislike the notion. In fact, I think I would use the word hate. I don't often use that word, but failing fast, I think, is utter nonsense, BS, entirely. And so I had the great pleasure. I can't even tell you how happy I was about this, Tim. I gave a keynote recently where one of my hero leaders was in attendance, and his job before he retired from the military was dismantling bombs. And I said, I really dislike this notion. I hate this notion of failing fast. I said, Bob, your job was to dismantle bombs, correct? And he said, yes, Tricia. And I said, okay, what if I came to you and I said, Bob, I got a new strategy. It's going to be awesome. Okay, you ready for this? Bob, we're going to fail fast. I mean, it's utter nonsense. It's just complete nonsense. We are not here to fail fast. We're here to succeed. Will we get bumps and bruises along the way? Yes. So what? Be proud of them. And then put that cape back on and away you go. There is nothing perfect about having great impact. You never don't fall. And you and I were talking about this, Tim. It's like, I was a figure skater. I trained at the Olympic Training Center in Canada for many, many years. You know what you do? You fall and fall and fall and fall and fall and fall until you fall just a little bit less. It's all an odds game. You fall a little less, and that's at every level. So I'd say, don't be even thinking about failing. You're succeeding. You're going to get a couple bruises and a little bit of pain here and there, but you're going to drive through to a great impact, and that makes those pains a lot less, lot less painful and a lot easier to bear as you're pushing forward and moving things and having great impact with the success that you're creating in your organization and of course to your wider communities.
Cool. So, well, I do want to thank you. I want to make sure I type this right and put that. That's your.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm
and
doing,
if
I'm
you
doing on
can
the
use
fly
it,
here. So,
what's that?
I said I'm doing everything on the fly today because so many of my organizational things got chucked because I needed to move something else up. So, but I'll make sure I get that. I do have it. I have these wonderful banners, and I have ways to actually bring people's comments up, like I did this one. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it moved on me. There we go. So see, Robert leaves a lot of comments. Anyway,
perfect.
but I do want to thank you for coming by, spending a couple of minutes. All right, I know I know I screwed up getting the schedules to you on time, and I apologize to Kira.
Tim, I'm so thrilled to be here with you, and thank you. You know, the work that you're doing, the impact you're having, it's what moves everything forward. So thank you, and thank you for making the commitment to do this. You know, COVID had a lot of blessings to it, of course. So obviously this is one of them. And the day you decided to drive down, all the way down wherever I was that day at the Jeff Crilly Studios, to meet with me.
Oh, I did while I was sitting in the studio. So, I've got a fun joking thing with Jeff. All right. And I got there and I was sitting there waiting for our meeting. And I just took pictures and video and I sent them to Jeff on a text message. I said, man, Jeff, you should check out this cool place. Whoever the guy was that came up with this did a pretty good idea. And Jeff texts me back and goes, yeah, he was effing brilliant too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's wonderful. I was
I got Jeff one time.
speaking with Jeff today.
Yeah, I got to get Jeff to come on here again and share. But Jeff, one time we were at a Mavericks game and he was sitting down from where our regular seats were, Dallas Mavericks. And I just texted him and I went, turn around. All right. So then I watch him do this and then I turn on other shoulder. And he looks back and I love connections.
Yeah, I was in Dallas a couple of weeks ago. We did a life and death in the C-Suite Network event with Dan LeBrod and Nelson Griswold and a number of leaders there in Dallas. And we went for dinner, and who was at the next table over but Jeff and Victoria. So it was wonderful to get to see them completely by happenstance.
So they're good people. All right. And you and I, that connection we have there in the center of Dallas there between them and Bill Wallace. I am so in awe that Bill Wallace, he was someone who, gosh, 6-7 years ago, we were on a panel together. First time I ever met him, I'm on a panel with his
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And over the years, I was just like, yeah, we're going to get in touch. Yeah, we're going to get in touch. Yeah, we're going to get in touch. And then all of a sudden, just before the pandemic, we connected so much. And then Bill's been on my stage now and been to these a couple times. And he's the one who told me, when I said, who are you? He said, you have to meet with her. If she wants a meeting, you meet with her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, Bill is absolutely wonderful. I actually met Bill because of C-Suite Network. So the very first large conference was in Dallas, and I was a sponsor back then. And the rest, as they say, is history. But it's just been absolutely wonderful, and it's exciting to see how he's stepping into chairman with Success North Dallas now and doing a whole bunch of things. And Casey Hasten, of course, has stepped into CEO, and I'm fortunate enough to have her as my mentee. And Bill and I are partners and do all kinds of different things together. So it's been delightful to see that journey.
So you and I will talk next time you're in town. I think we're going to talk about how we make this work with you and yours work with this. And
I love that. Yes. Love that, Tim. Okay. All right. I'm going to be there third week of March, so we'll get some time in the calendar.
Third week of March. Oh, so the third week of March. You know what happens on the third week of March?
Success
North Dallas. This again.
Oh, this again. Oh, perfect.
So second week, as this I was explaining before you came on, second week now is my local Dallas meetup on a Tuesday night. And then third Tuesday is this. And we
Okay.
start at 11 a.m. and we go to 2:30ish. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So, and you're always welcome back. You're like Bill, like Bill Wallace. You always have a seat at the table if you come back.
I'll have an announcement to share with you then. So we'll have some fun news to share too.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't get, because I wasn't on the Celebrate call the last 2 weeks to share my good news because I had to go to other events.
Okay.
I'm supposed to not show this on the internet, but I'm showing it from a distance.
Oh.
My little grandson Coda was born. So.
Oh my goodness! Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know, having had children, I'm really looking forward to that stage because, you know, I'm still so wonderfully happy not to have an infant of my own. You know, I had two, I lived through it, but not getting sleep is not my ideal situation. So I'm looking forward to just being like an incredible hero to let my children sleep while they, you know, while I look after an infant that I can then give back.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's the part I love, getting the pictures every day. All right.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm not staying up with them tonight.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I still feel grateful every day. My
So,
first never slept him. It was,
yeah. So.
but she sleeps like a teenager does now. So that's all good.
All right. Well, I will see you. I think I'm going to be there Friday because I don't think I have anything scheduled this Friday. So I think I'm going to be there.
Ooh, you're in for a treat this Friday. Let me see. You know, it's always a surprise, but I will say that this person is globally prolific. And what else can I say? He's associated with, and I guess I could say he wrote one of the most familiar rock riffs ever.
Okay. You know what you can do? All right. You can tell me in the private chat. No, I won't tell the world, but come on, give me some more than that, girl.
It's pretty exciting. It's a great story. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat. So join me.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, that's the rest of you all got to join and see what we're talking about in this. All right. And it's up further in there. All right. You know what I mean? I did try to pass it on there. I got the link and I'll put it back in there again so you guys can get it. But go to C-Suite Networks, at least get on their email list. So you'll be able to find out about that. So yeah. Anyway.
Thanks so much, Tim.
Thank you so much. And I will see you on Friday.
Perfect.
All right.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be another wrap up for another month. My name is Tim Gillette, and it has been my pleasure putting this whole thing together for you every month. And, you know, hey, things worked out, things didn't work out, it always works out the way it's meant to be. All right. I did get a message from our other speaker who just couldn't, he double booked himself and apologizes, but it's okay. We will fix it. We will get him back here again next month. All right. He's not someone that I'm mad at. He's someone who's like me. He's got a busy schedule. So if this really impacted you this month, all right, there's a couple things I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to change the rolling banner down below. Our mastermind, again, I told you I was going to offer you this, guys. Our mastermind is the gold mastermind level. You get, all right, all the power notes on this. All right. You get the heads up. All right. So most of the mastermind members knew all about today's topic because they got it. All right. In their mastermind Get Cash Now newsletter. So they got even more in detail than what you got today. That's part of what we do every month. So that is the gold mastermind level. You go to timgillette.com/gold. You can check that out. All right. The other thing that we have, all right, is if you want to tell your friends about this event, if something impacted you, go tell your friends. But before you do, go to timgillette.com/affiliates, sign up for our affiliate program and get paid to tell them about this event. That way, when they join, not only do you look good, but you got money in your pocket for looking good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? All right. We're all good people here. Special thanks to all those people who came in today. All right. I'll put that up there at timgillette.com/gold. All right. Or if you're not sure whether our Inner Circle program's for you and you want to have a quick coffee chat, go to timgillette.com/coffee. Book a virtual Zoom meeting with me. I will be glad to sit and talk over with you, whatever it is you're going in through right now, and as to whether we have a fit for you. Hey, maybe you don't need our program. Maybe it's somebody else that I know that you need to connect to. All right. And I find that out a lot by having coffee meetings with people, like having it with Scott Schilling this month. All right. As well as I had one with a couple other people. But anyway, you want to find out more about that? timgillette.com/coffee. Guys, every month we will keep putting on these events. All right. We will do them no matter who shows up, no matter what happens. All right. We will push through. We will make it happen. And I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. All right. Until I reach 10,000 content creators making $10,000 a month because they get an audience of $10,000 or more, or 10,000 people or more. And that's all it takes, is creating content and getting started. My name is Tim Gillette. All right. And this month here, by all means, I will put that challenge together. If you're not on an inner circle. All right. I hope you took good notes. The inner circle member, they already got that sent to them in an email, so they know what the challenge is. But come back next month. Well, we'll have another exciting event for you, another set of 4 different speakers, and we will always be here to help you. All right. So thank you, Facebook users. All right. Thank you. That was fun. All right. And I appreciate that. That was fun, Tim. Spontaneity has much to offer. I love it. So, yes, congratulations. Thanks on the baby. And I'm going to put this on one more time. So all you guys who are actually, you know what I mean, the Facebook users, if you look at the bottom there, it says click on this button. All right. It'll connect and it'll actually start showing us who you are. So next month we can get your name and picture, just like Robert's up there, so people can know who you are. All right. And they can know to connect with you because they can see your face. And it just makes people want to be connected with you. I appreciate our speakers who gave today. Leisa Reid, Scott Schilling, and then lastly, Tricia Benn. All right. I will see you guys next month. Have a great rest of your February. See you guys in March. Bye now.